And hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast. We are live here on the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast channel. I am Austin Pez Howell. I'll be kind of your host for tonight. Jacob Barber could not make it this evening. JP will be here in just a little bit. But for now, long time no see. Richie, how's it going?
No, it feels like a lifetime
how's
ago.
How's it been since 15 minutes ago?
Oh man, a lot has happened.
Yes.
I went to the bathroom and now I'm here. Cool.
Oh, cool. Oh, good. How'd that go? Everything all right?
Oh yeah, no, it was refreshing. So yeah, no, all good. Excited to talk about some wrestling. And we went and yeah, well, it's a decent retro one, and yeah, fantasy draft and decent, has some decent nuggets of news. So yeah, fun to get into it as always.
Yeah, no, we'll get into it. Yeah, like I said, there's some good. We actually had some decent news topics to talk about this week. It's been kind of a slow week the last two. We definitely had one big story involving a ring announcer departure and a subsequent return. And then, yeah, we had a title change on Raw, and we had a title change on Dynamite as well. So a couple things we can talk about here going forward. But yeah, we'll start since JP is running a little behind here. Richie and I talked off air. We figured we'll go ahead and start with our hypothetical fantasy cards for our draft that we did last week and it was your idea, Richie, to do a face paint and mask wrestlers draft, kind of in honor of Halloween. People would kind of cover their faces with different things, dress up a little bit. Do you want to run over your card, or at least your stars that you drafted real quick, and then you can get into your actual card, Richie? So what you got?
I'll get into my let's get into my card first.
Yeah.
I drafted Sting, Darby Allin, Dashing Cody Rhodes,
Yes,
El Generico, Psychosis, Abyss, Tiger Mask, specifically Kota Ibushi under Tiger Mask, Hayabusa, Puma, Atlantis Jr., El Santo, El Hijo del Fantasma, the current Santos Escobar, Mystico, the former Sin Cara, but best known as Mystico, and in terms of best work, Mystico. Danhausen, much to the chagrin of JPO, who forgot he was still on the table, and Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik as the House Party.
All right. So, what'd you put together for your card with all these people on your roster here?
So we're going to start off with a sort of high-paced action. I got Puma, which was Ricochet versus Hayabusa. I think that'd be a fun match to open up here. And I'm gonna put Puma over here, just like be the young gun of the two. So why not? Then you got a tag match player. You got Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik versus Tiger Mask, Kota Ibushi, and Psychosis. This random tag team, but hey, it'd be a fun octane affair. I'm gonna have Tiger Mask and Psychosis go over there. Number 3, I had a hard time working out where to put this guy, but I would put Lance Jr. versus Danhausen. Had a hard time put Danhausen in my thing. I'm like, oh man, should he just be like a host or something?
He's the special guest host of this Lucha or whatever event. Danhausen.
But I think if I think he's going to have a comedy match, or probably Lance Jr. could he might be able to do it with him. So yeah, you know what? And it's going to be in Vince Russo fashion. It's going to be teeth on a pole. There you go. Yeah, jar of teeth on a pole. There you go. And then then we go to Dashing Cody Rhodes versus El Generico. That should be a fun match there. Yeah. Then we got El Hijo del Fantasma, the current Santos Escobar, versus Mystico. I'm sure they've probably wrestled heaps of times before, but I'm sure they have good chemistry. And then our co-main event, or semi-main event, well, co-main event, my issues with co-main event, but Monsters Ball match, Darby Allin versus Abyss.
Okay. No, I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, Darby's my favorite stuff with him is when he fights like a big monster, that can like throw him around. And yeah, that would be reminiscent of like, remember a Ring of Honor match, Richie, where Abyss faced Jack Evans and just tossed him around like a rag doll, and
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun. So something
Yeah.
to that effect. Yeah, there's some guy who doesn't care about his body and has a rubber band for a body. Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah. And then main event, just a Legends match. Yeah, I'm pretending they're both in their kind of prime, but it'd be interesting to see there's two generations clustered together. I got Sting and El Santo. So
Okay. Sting and El Santo. Yeah. No, that's the legend of kind of the most legendary sort of face painted wrestler maybe ever versus the most legendary lucha man in Mexican history. Because even Eric Ibarra, as much as El Santo is kind of out of his age range, he says that basically everybody knows who El Santo is in Mexico. Everybody. he's like Hulk Hogan in Mexico. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely works. So all right. Well, let's go to my card here. I drafted Rey Mysterio, Undertaker under the white mask when he wore that for a while, which counted. We got CM Punk under his lucha mask during the Straight Edge Society when he got his head shaved. Ultimo Dragon, the Pegasus Kid, which is Chris Benoit, when he was in Japan. We have Black Tiger, Eddie Guerrero, when he was under a mask in Japan as well for the J Cups. We got the Great Muta, of course, needs no introduction. The Blue Blazer, Owen Hart. We got Juventud Guerrera when he wore a mask, kind of in ECW and whatnot in Mexico. Super Dragon, who I've always been a fan of from the independent circuit. The Great Sasuke, who I've always been a fan of, whenever he's popped up on various promotions. Mr. JL, that's Jerry Lynn, early in his career wearing a mask. Mortis, aka Chris Canyon. We got the Insane Clown Posse and the Powers of Pain, Warlord and the Barbarian. So that is who I drafted. As for my card, I've got 7 matches here. So let's see what we got. We're going to open up with Juventud Guerrera versus Mr. JL. I think Hoovy and Jerry Lynn could have a fun little, opener, do some fun stuff, and have some.
They probably wrestled in WW as well. I don't know. They might have.
Yeah, I think they just missed each other because JL was in like 94 or something like that. I think it was right before Hoovy got there. So I don't think. I think the only thing I find is I think there's one of my matches has happened before. I think one, but I would just want to see it again. So yeah. Number 2 will be pretty much a squash, but a fun squash. I'm going to have Powers of Pain just completely squash the Insane Clown Posse. That should be fun. Just put these 2 monsters in there and just murder the clowns. That should be fun.
That should be reminiscent of like the Acolytes versus Public Enemy.
Public Enemy. Yeah, just have them just go in there and powerbomb them all over the place and gorilla press them and, just do whatever. It's not going to be a competitive match. just have them out there and just do their thing. Number 3, just for the sake of doing, Chris Canyon always seemed like Richie, like he always wrestled indie type matches. He was always doing like new moves, and like trying out wacky stuff, and he always kind of wrestled like an indie guy. So I'll have Mortis versus Super Dragon, and I have those guys get in there and mix it up. I think that could be fun. And I'll have Super Dragon go over the Psycho Driver. That could be fun. Number 4, I believe, happened at least once in Japan. So we'll go Pegasus Kid versus Blue Blazer. So essentially Chris Benoit versus Owen Hart, just because I want to see those guys, mix it up again and do their thing. No, it happened once. It happened one time. I looked it up, but it wasn't a very long match. It was like an 11-minute match or something like that. So we'll give those guys, good 15, 20 minutes and let them rip it up. Number 5 is a spin on the IWA Mid-South match. If you remember when CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, and Eddie Guerrero had a 3-way. So I'm going to have a very similar match, just with a different dynamic. So I'll have CM Punk under his mask versus Black Tiger, Eddie Guerrero versus Ultimo Dragon instead of Rey Mysterio. So I'll throw Ultimo Dragon in there. So kind of a 3-way, and they can do similar things, but with Ultimo Dragon instead. So I'll have Ultimo go over in that one and sneak a win out. My semi-main event will be, from what I can tell, a first-time matchup, and just 2 of the great masked high flyers. Of the Great Sasuke versus Rey Mysterio. I think they could have had a really fun match if they had locked up in Japan or whatever. So that could be fun. And then just sort of again, biggest stars kind of their eras and whatnot, and both in their prime, I think it'd be pretty great. Undertaker versus Great Muta, I think could be really interesting. And never happened because they just never really crossed paths, because Undertaker at the time, even if they had, and he didn't, was Mean Mark Callis at the time. He wasn't the Undertaker. So then when Muta came back to America in 2000, WCW, obviously Undertaker was long gone for WWF. So Yeah, so but yeah, I think Undertaker Muta just could be a fun, big sports entertainment main event. So there you go, and that's our cards. So yeah, so kind of get over that just to have a little fun. But yeah, we'll start kind of getting into the news, and we'll get JPO's take when he gets here. Obviously, probably the biggest story of the week thus far was the departure of Samantha Irvin, the Raw ring announcer. And of course, most people know who Samantha Irvin is. She's the female who's not only very easy on the eyes, but also very easy on the ears because she's got a great voice, has a very hyped, ring introductions. She's probably one of the better, announcers that at least ring announcers that's come along, to them in a while. But yeah, she is now released from WWE. It was falsely reported by PW Insider that she kind of dropped this like before Raw, which I knew was nonsense, but they still reported it anyways. But no, she had, but she's been talking about this for a while with them for at least a couple of months. And apparently just more information has come out, Richie, that it is in fact so she could go focus on her music career, which is a weird parallel with who came back to ring announce, with somebody who also went on to pursue a music career that didn't really pan out, but we'll see. Maybe Samantha will be a little more successful. But yeah, Lily, and that leads into Lillian Garcia is now back as the Raw ring announcer and was brought out and is, I guess, at least for now, the new Raw ring announcer. But yeah, Richie, your thoughts on when you heard Samantha Irvin was gone and the return of Lillian Garcia?
Yeah, I guess it was a bit surprising, but I initially thought, okay, because her, she's the girlfriend of Ricochet, so I was like, oh, maybe it's because it's hard to keep a relationship when two in separate companies or whatever. But yeah, but then I worked, and I was like, trying to pursue music interests, and but then I heard other reports like, oh well, yeah, that couldn't work out with WWE talk to kind of work within their schedule or whatever. But I think it's just she came from a music background. I think she was competed on one of those reality shows like Voice or X Factor or something. I believe I read that she was discovered by Mark Henry of all people, and they were like, you gotta. There's something he liked how she was interacting with the rest of the cast or whatever, and she thought she'd make a good addition to WWE. So she just initially tried to train as a wrestler, didn't really work out. She wasn't fit for it, but they tried her out as ring announcer, and yeah, the rest you say is history because she's really great. I love. Yeah, I think she just brought her own flair to it, where it's I think that some of the other ones they brought in, you could chop and change them and you wouldn't notice. But she, just the way she would announce Gunther, for instance, it's yeah, she really put a, she would really go for it. She would, yeah, and the emotion in her voice when Cody won the championship. The Chelsea Green thing is always fun. Chelsea Green. It's cool. Just she has her own style, and then she has something for Ludwig Kaiser too. Ludwig Kaiser.
Ludwig Kaiser. Yeah, just kind of that's fun.
I think it's kind of cool. It's just I think she's one of the better ones that bought in for a while. And in regards to Lillian, I've always liked Lillian. I think she's really good. She's one of those people that will never fully leave WWE. She's always going to be brought back in. I think this is the third time she's come back. I think she had a couple of slip ups on the first night back, but I don't really put much stock into that. That it's going to happen. I think prior to this, she was doing ring announcing for PFL. And kind of if it's I consider PFL Bellator the TNA of MMA. So it's the second. Yeah. So she was doing she was doing ring announcing for them. So yeah, but she's obviously got a great voice as well. And she was pursuing music stuff, music career. But yeah, and it's good to see her back in the fold. I always enjoy seeing Lillian. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I am gonna miss Samantha. Calling her calling the action. It wouldn't shock me if AEW makes a play for her at some point, whether she goes there, I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if down the line of if her schedule clears up, if WWE just brings her back. So yeah, but
you can always Well, and who's to say she couldn't come back for special occasions? Maybe a pay per view every now and then. Some random Raw appearances, things like that. She couldn't come back as a special guest ring announcer. You know what I mean? So it's happened before.
Yeah.
Or host a Raw or something like that, host a pay per view, things like that. So yeah, we could see her back. I'm sure, just at least for appearances. She seems to have a good rapport with everybody there. So, yes, it was not true that she just sprang this out of nowhere. She'd been talking with them for a while, and they just kind of couldn't come to terms as far as balancing, I think, the music and the announcing career. Because, even as an announcer, you're on the road a lot. You're at all the shows, the house shows, everything. So, I mean, it would be hard for her to kind of get away and, work on her music, in her off day. So, totally understand it. We'll see how it pans out. I know Lillian tried the music thing, didn't quite work out. I remember when they would always push her songs on Raw, and she would even sometimes perform them live, and didn't always go well. I always thought it was kind of a little weird and awkward when they would, but
yeah, it was weird. But I mean, yeah, like music careers are kind of harder to balance, and I think that they're more accepting if someone wants to go film a movie, like Drew McIntyre just did, because it's like that. It's like maybe they'll take maybe like a month or two off their schedule, or not even that. Like you could probably work it in so you don't work as many house shows or whatever. Like you can work that. That's easy to work within your schedule than like a
or going to film. Yeah, going to film a TV show for a couple of weeks or something like that. Whatever your appearances are going to be. Yeah, like I said, Drew McIntyre could have theoretically for that movie taken like 2 weeks off, and I think he did, like 2 or 3 weeks. Go film the movie and come back. Like no big deal.
Yeah. But yeah, music's a bit more tricky because you gotta record the whole thing. Yeah, so.
But yeah, and kind of the other big thing that happened on Raw was we have a new Intercontinental Champion. Braun Breaker has now reclaimed the IC title from Jey Uso, who held it for a cup of coffee, and now he is not an IC champion anymore, thanks to the Bloodline, specifically kind of Solo and Fatu. The Tonga's getting involved as well, but yeah, them kind of coming to ringside with tickets and then getting involved with the title change there, and Braun Breaker. Fun moment of that match, though, when Braun Breaker had a little face off with Jacob Fatu. That was fun.
Yeah, I think people were like, I want that match.
No, I mean, when you go back and watch the clip, man, when the crowd realizes they're like having a little face off, like they start going nuts. They're like, yes, we want that right now. So yeah, that would be fun. But yeah, I mean, again, I like the fact that they've got this dynamic now where when he faces off with people, it's fun and interesting, kind of like the old days, when some X giant or badass guy would face off against Y giant or badass guy. That was always fun. Yeah. So but yeah, Jey Uso, your thoughts, Richie Jey Uso? He had it, and now it's gone again, and presumably he's jumping back into the Bloodline storyline.
Well, in the perfect world, I would like to have, for him to have a longer reign.
JPO, by the way. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Hey.
It's all good. They did bring $30 worth of my food, so I'm also shit out of luck on that, and I can reorder the food now. But that's besides the
we'll get back to you in a second. Yeah, we started talking about the Jey Uso thing. We can come back to you for the Samantha Irvin stuff. We just kind of talked about that for a minute, obviously. So we'll come back to you in just a second. Let me
brought up. What's Jey Uso?
Well, no, he's not IC champion anymore from Raw.
Oh, okay.
That Braun Breaker won the title on Raw, and Jey Uso is now jumping back into the Bloodline storyline, assuming that's going.
I was just going to say, in a perfect world, I would have liked to have Jey Uso have a bigger run, but it makes storyline sense as to why he lost it, and then it gives Jey motivation to finally, because he's been he's been very reluctant to join his brother and Roman, so it gives him motivation to do that. So it's actually clever, but even though it's not. Sometimes these trends do these short range sort of. Sometimes short range makes sense. Sometimes they're just done because they don't. You can clearly.
That's kind of what I was going to argue is that. Well, I'm definitely not a let's just hot potato the belt all the time guy. I hate that. I don't mind it every once in a while because it does serve a purpose sometimes. It shows that one, this is a real sport, if you will, and then sometimes people just get the better of one another on a certain night, and then for something like this, it gives Jey a little bit more credibility, gives him that first single title run, and now we're able to put him in the other storyline, as we've all kind of figured he would be. So I don't personally mind it actually here. As long as it's not overly done, I don't mind that it happens every once in a while.
For sure.
Yeah, I think it served its purpose. I mean, we'll probably, we'll get to that. Those title runs that run short for when we talked about No Mercy, which didn't make sense. That makes sense in the long run, but like this one's fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, and yeah, it's like everybody wins these titles nowadays, and we're all expecting 200-day title reigns and things like that, and we forget that sometimes somebody may only hold it for 2 months and lose it, and we change the dynamics a little bit, but it's all like we almost got accustomed to, Gunther held the IC title for what 600 days or whatever it was, and Roman holding it
Gunther,
for
Roman
1,000 days. Cody's held it for quite a while since WrestleMania, but obviously right now, LA Knight's held it on for a little while now. So we're kind of Logan Paul held it for a while. So we're used to these kind of longer title reigns. We forget, I mean, you can change the title every now and then as a shock, and throw a little wrench in the mix. It happens. So and Braun Breaker's still very much an established star, so I don't really have a problem with him holding the title for right now and hanging on to it for a little bit. But JPO, we will get your thoughts on obviously the Samantha Irvin situation and subsequently Lillian Garcia's return. So your thoughts on that whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly not at the same time here, and obviously she was way over. A lot of people like her. There's a fan base that doesn't love her, but I think for the most part she gets pretty good praise. I like her personally. But her boys over in AEW, whether or not she'll follow, we'll see. I know there has been rumblings of her like, no, I just want to do other things. Renee Paquette said the same thing. We'll see. Is that just being nice to get out of her WWE contract for now? And then as soon as it's, those 90 days are up, need someone for Collision now. Is there another, besides Justin Roberts, is there like a regular announcer?
As far as
I know,
Dasha
Dasha does pre-show stuff occasionally, and they do get Bobby Cruz, the Ring of Honor ring announcer, to do Ring of Honor stuff.
True.
Sometimes.
All right, so you got Bobby, but he's also, like you said, probably the Ring of Honor guy. So you could put Bobby more full time, but I'm just saying, I feel like there is a spot for someone else organically, So whether or not she'll go, we'll see.
It has come out a little more recently, JPO, that she does kind of have a music thing going on that she wants to pursue. So
that's how she's
maybe that's what it is. Yeah. So we'll see if that's really.
Brooke Hogan said the same thing and then ended up in TNA. So
Lillian Garcia said the same thing, and that didn't go too far.
I also wonder too. I'd love to hear from Lillian and see, is this just we need someone for them fill in, or is Lillian going to be here now for a little bit? So I'm interested in that. I wonder if they're grooming somebody. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything about her signing like a new contract, but she maybe just be on a short-term thing just for now, and maybe she'll actually sign like a more long-term thing recently. But I mean, I don't mind having her back. She looks exactly the same. She's aged very well. She looks
good for her. She kind of botched the return though.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
The number one container, I believe containers. Hey, you can see the look on her face like, fuck that up. Oh well.
God damn
it. Ring nerves on the way back. What are you gonna do? First time.
I just said I didn't put much stock into it because I'm like, it's her first time back. But
it's first time.
No, I'm not knocking it. Much love to Lillian. I've always enjoyed Lillian. Hell, even her brief relationship with Big V Visser. Anyone remember that? So
we talked about it on one of those.
We taled about it on one of the retro shows. Remember they had that segment where he broke up with her.
Yeah, he left her for the home.
That's true.
Yeah, we talked about that show because that was on one of those like 05 shows or something like that.
I was explaining The Godfather to our friend Tato the other day. I said there was a guy back in the day. He'd come out and there's a pimp who would offer you whores and hookers in order to not fight.
And basically in exchange for your forfeiting the match, you would go spend a night with one of his.
And every once in a while, Vader took him up one time. I don't know if you remember. Vader took him up one time. A couple people did.
No, I think Midian took him up one time. I think
that sounds plausible.
I think so. I want to say even Albert did it one time. Like a couple of those guys took him up on the offer, and it was always fun when they actually did. And she's like, "Yeah, why not? I don't have to wrestle tonight." Hey, fair enough.
And then he randomly became the Good Father. He was actually on Chris Van Vliet's show the other day. He said he said that he was going to be like they became the Good Father, but he really wanted to get back to the Godfather, and he told Vince he told Vince that he had intentions to leave and to write him out of stories, and then he put the titles on him and Bull Buchanan just so he could stay around.
Of course.
So Ricochet just said the same thing too. Ricochet was like, I wanted to quit, a year ago, and then I found out I'm fighting for the IC title next week, and I ended up winning it. Like, all right, I guess I'll stick around. Like, it feels like a certain thing they do sometimes. Steven Richards talked about that too, about how like people like Godfather and Val Venus both didn't like it because it killed all their merch sales. So it killed all their bonuses. They went from selling Godfather T-shirts to like no one's buying Right to Censor shirts. So that does affect your income.
yeah, for sure.
So I could see that. That makes sense. It's something I never really thought about. Like, I could see Godfather being like, no, man, people are buying my T-shirts and my keychains.
No, because those guys get like when their stuff gets on fire, they get really good, especially WWE merch checks. Like merch checks are a thing. Yeah. Stone Cold talked about. Austin talked about the first check he got for Austin 316 shirts after they first came out. He got like literally a high 6-figure check just in the mail for like his merch sales, and he was like, "What?" Yeah.
A good thing Maven said was I think Devon Dudley told him. Devon went to him and went, "Listen, so and so is going to ask for you at some point. When that person asks for you, you go and do that. Unless Vince is asking for you at the same time, I don't care if Stephanie wants you, if I want you, if Bradshaw wants you, you go and follow that person." Because what it was the scanner for video games and for action figures. And he's like, because that will get you a shit ton of money. He's like, people have like, oh, I'll get to them later, and then they end up missing their boat, and then they end up missing, thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah, so so and so from THQ or Jax asks for you, you fucking beeline right to that area.
Mick Foley must be rolling in it because like it's still to this day, like you kind of like if you scan the crowd, like you see a Cactus Jack shirt.
You'll see Steve Austin shirts all over the place. You see NWO shirts all over the place. You know what I mean? Like you'll see those shirts.
I've always wondered,
yeah,
who's getting NWO and DX money? Like,
I don't know if it's like a thing. Yeah, who's got that legend? Piece of it? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
In it.
Yeah,
right. Like, is he though? Is he? Like,
I don't know. I'm just like
you think he's getting NWO money? I'm just wondering where the cutoff is. Is Stevie Ray seeing NWO T-shirt sales? Was Virgil? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wonder. I've always wondered, like, where the cutoff is.
Yeah, how much does Scott Norton get from that? Sitting at home. Right now?
Is Buff Bagwell getting weekly checks? Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, there was a smaller pool with like DX. Like Sean Waltman was probably getting DX checks. You know what I mean? For merch,
even then, that's fine. Is Tori, not Wilson, but TORI? Is she getting DX money?
Is Hornswoggle getting checks from when
is yes? Yeah, I don't think he is. I feel like he would say. I feel like I would have heard that. But
no, that's a good question. I would like to see the inner workings of the.
Where's the cutoff? Yeah.
Is
it just Shawn, Triple H because they started it? Maybe China and Rude? I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know. But we'll get into a few other things here. Just a few other minor notes. We had a title change on Dynamite as well. Chris Jericho won the Ladder War, and
that's what I'm listening to. Yeah.
Reclaimed the ROH title from Mark Briscoe on Dynamite.
Two-time now.
Two-time ROH champion. Yeah. JPO, how was the Ladder War? Did you see it? I know you're 100 on all your Dynamite.
Yeah, I'm still good. I'm still good. Yeah. I watched it at home. Usually I watch it with my friend Corey most weeks. So he wasn't feeling great. So I watched it at home. I mean, it's a good match. I just don't know if we needed a second Ring of Honor run from him. Again, like if he's on TV, maybe that's what you should do. Put him on the Ring of Honor TV. Try to hype that up. Like then I might be cool with it, but I think I just totally see him not being on TV and that title disappearing now, and same as the last run. So I don't know. I don't hate it because I don't hate the Jericho stuff as much as some people, but I'm not in love with it.
I think do they have a rubber match at the next ROH pay-per-view? Like where are we going with this? Yeah, I don't know.
That's probably what's going to happen. Yeah, in fact, I'm sure there's a final battle. I would imagine so. We're probably about a month and a half away.
Maybe it's to get somebody like Jericho on Final Battle, like a bigger star on the main event,
which is what they did last time. That's my thing. Is that like we've done this dance. We've done the get Jericho the belt, so we can lose the belt dance.
Yeah.
So like I said, the match was good, but again, I don't know if we'll see. Prove me wrong, WWE. Make this like a worthy like Ring of Honor builder, and we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
More so than just like you said, shoehorning him on the pay-per-view, which I think is what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I don't know. I was saying, I don't know. The actual episode wasn't even like It's one of the weaker ones. I just like something beyond like the John Moxley stuff, which is alright because they're obviously building out John Moxley and Orange Cassidy, which is going to be interesting. It's going to be a good match for Full Gear probably. Yeah, I just thought everything was filler. I think the only other notable thing that people talking online is Lance Archer looks like look a lot.
Oh,
like
I
Drew
saw
McIntyre.
that. Yeah.
It's like a what? Looks like a what?
I don't. It's like Drew McIntyre, which I don't necessarily agree with, other than like they wear like black plasticky pants and their dark hair. I guess I don't know, but it was kind of funny that he definitely gave too much into it. Like, dude, like you're a wrestler. Be higher than like picking on these fans that are trying to pick on you. Like, be better.
Yeah, but I mean, I like the tag team of Brian Cage and so that's gonna be cool. But yeah, it was interesting to go. But yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. I feel like they're gonna build them up just to have them lose to somebody down the line. Like, I don't know if
it's usually the case. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. I mean, because I brought it up in the chat. It is weird. They had Battle of the Belts, right? AEW had Battle of the Belts where Anna Jay won a title, but it's for Battle of the Belts. Anna Jay beat Mariah May for a title shot. She won a title shot at Battle of the Belts, and she got the title shot at Collision. Why didn't you just do the title match at Battle of the Belts and do the title shot thing at Collision?
Let me debate you here. You know why? Because they have to fill 5 hours of television, so they gotta fucking like it's soap opera. You gotta milk that shit.
Yeah, but like it's called Battle of the Belts. Have the title match on Battle of the
Belts. At least they had 2 title matches on like Title Tuesday that had one.
Like Title Tuesday on Collision. I'm saying that.
Hey, welcome to WWE Night of Champions. How many title matches do we have? 2.
Like 2. Everything else is non-title or just non-champions.
Uh-huh.
No, I mean I do agree with you, but like I could also see just like they're just trying to milk stuff. That's like a good soap opera. I remember one time, I was on vacation, watching Days of Our Lives during the day with my mom. Someone was on the edge of a cliff, had to go to school. A week later, had a day off. The guy was still on the cliff. I'm like, he's on the cliff for a fucking week, just dangling, because they would only cut to him for like 2 minutes to like milk it. Because again, a soap opera was 5 hours of television every week.
Mm-hmm. He must have strong grip.
No,
he's got that Tom Cruise MI2 grip.
Every episode would be like one more minute. Like, I don't know how long you can do. Wednesday. Oh, this is really tough. Thursday. Maybe can you get somebody. Friday. Well, what's on TV tonight?
There was this story that's actually in Australia. Like this, you might have seen it because it was in USA Today and stuff. There's woman. This chick was rock climbing and she dropped her phone. And then she went to grab it, and she went like head first into this like crevasse, like sort of this crevice, right? And so she was hanging upside down for like trying to get her phone for like 7 hours. Mm-hmm. Look it up. It's crazy. And she was just
really gonna fuck up your bloodstream and stuff.
Yeah, and she was just able to reach the phone enough to be like, hey, like to call an ambulance, but it took ages to find her as well. So she was like hanging upside down for 7 hours. I was like,
that's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's things you're not going to see me doing. It's rock climbing, cave diving, all that nonsense. Yeah,
I've seen too many movies. I have no interest in going to a cabin in the woods unless there's at least 8 other cabins near me. Like I don't want one sick, secluded cabin.
Right. No, one of those. I go to those cabin things in like Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where there's 50 cabins in like a neighborhood.
Yeah. Then I could do that.
Yeah,
I actually really liked North Carolina, where there was just a lot of like wood and stuff, but there's neighbors.
Right. Yes, people within eyeball distance.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Even though I physically couldn't, I'm glad after watching 127 hours. I wouldn't go rock climbing anyway. But that.
Yes. Those guys who do weird videos where they're crawling through cave crevices. Like, no, thank you. Like, I'm not doing that. Ever.
In 127 hours, there's definitely a part of you that's like, oh, I feel so bad for the guy. But there's also a part of you that's like, but he fucking kind of deserved it. Like, or not deserved it, but like, it's your fault for landing in that area.
you're doing something, like something's probably bound to happen.
By yourself.
To do that. Yeah.
Yeah, without any way of telling people, hey,
if I don't come back tonight, this is where I'm probably going to be. Yeah. So come
in
find
6 hours. Send somebody. Here's the trail I'm doing. Mm-hmm. In 6 hours, look for me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's usually what you do. The only other, not a whole lot of other things. I did see one minor note for an interesting indie match coming up. The next Bloodsport, Josh Barnett versus MVP at Bloodsport.
They did set that up, so yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It surprises me, but not go because they set it up. So
Yeah,
interesting.
Interesting. I mean, see how that goes.
Speaking of, not speaking of, but of Triller too, just for Pez. If you want to save $15, if you were going to do the November and December AEW pay-per-views, there is a combo.
Oh, combo. Okay.
An $85 combo instead of $100. $15.
Gotcha. No, that's fine. I'll probably end up doing that. Sure. All right. Yeah. No, sounds good. The only other thing we did while you were gone, JP, was we found our cards for our.
I do that real quick.
Yeah. We did our mask / face paint cards. But yeah, if you've got your roster and your card, you can run that down if you like.
I tried to combine it to a quick 6-match card. I was really high on Triple H's new booking method, so I was like, only 6. And also too, by the way, usually I have a card in mind. I didn't draft it this way because we never said that. So
no, it's fine because I didn't have mine in mind either when I did mine. I just
went by like people I enjoyed. So or funny things that I enjoy. So I've got Vampiro versus Killshot, which is Swerve Strickland, in case you didn't know. So and again, when I say these people's names too, picture them in their prime. So like picture like you know. Late 90s, early 2000s Vampiro and Killshot maybe today, I guess. So I think that would be a banger. Mask 3-way of Curryman, Delirious, and Laparca. I think that would be fun.
That tracks. You could have like a mix of comedy and some good work rate at the end or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Like Laparca is actually one of the more serious people of the three, if funny enough.
Yeah.
Road Warriors and Demolition. Demolition, the semi knockoff in a way, finally getting some peace with some more Road Warriors. Nice little.
I'm surprised that match didn't happen.
I might have on house shows. I feel like it did. I think there is a gap where it happened.
Maybe there's your assignment, JPO. Did that match ever happen anywhere, even on a house show?
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna look it up in 30 seconds. Oh yeah, no, now I need to know. I got a 4-way here. Decided to throw these 4 together because again, I was running out of things to think of. So Goldust, Umaga, Renegade, and Fantasio. They can probably kill Renegade and Fantasia pretty quickly, and it'll probably roll down to Goldust and Umaga. This would be pretty dope. Again, in their prime, Jushin Thunder Liger and Bandito, former Ring of Honor World Champion. They could have had a hell of a match. And then this is I think a fun main event. Maybe throw in some no DQ rules here. Mankind and Jeff Hardy. I think again, if you do like mid 90s Mankind, 2000 to mid 2000 Jeff Hardy would be a banger, as the kids say.
Maybe throw him in like a falls count anywhere type of thing or something. That
exactly. Yeah, falls count anywhere is perfect. Yeah,
like Richie had, I think, like a Monsters Ball type situation. Just sort of running around doing.
Oh hey, did you say Monsters Ball? Share my screen.
Oh boy! Oh boy! What do you got? Is there
TNA Bound for Glory Saturday? We got on the countdown the Hall of Fame Bob Ryder, who's a very important backstage guy who passed away unfortunately, and Rhino the Man Beast inducted into the Hall of Fame. And also looks like on the free countdown is the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, kind of like a little mini Royal Rumble here. There's usually surprises. I believe it's also usually intergender. Jordan Grace has won one in the past as well, so you might see some like surprise cameos in that. I'm going to say now, I think this might be the first WWE champion in TNA. I think Wendy Chu and Rosemary may take the tag titles from Spitfire. That's one of the matches. Matt Cardona, this is your Monsters Ball reference. The Indie God, the Deathmatch King, Matt Cardona, and PCO for the digital title. That's your Monsters Ball match. This should be pretty good. I'm pretty sure this happened at WrestleCon, if I'm not mistaken. Mike Bailey and Vikingo for the X Division title.
He's back from his injury, Vikingo. So is he good to go?
Evidently. Yeah. Well, he's putting X Division title match, so he better be. Josh Alexander and Steve Macklin. A lot of people wonder
Steve Macklin babyface.
Kind of de facto babyface. Still kind of a stern guy, but in this match he is. A lot of people wondering where Josh Alexander might land next. Supposedly his contract's up. They did show clips of him on AEW over at that Maple Leaf Wrestling. Which is Scott D'Amore's new show. Shut up, you dude. Moose and Mike Santana, Full Metal Mayhem. You see a 3-way tag title match. The System, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards defending against ABC, Chris Bane, Ace Austin, and the Hardys, Matt and Jeff. So looks like it'll be the very ladder-filled Knockouts Championship. Jordan Grayson, Masha Slamovich, and then finally it's Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry. Hey, I said his name. I said his.
What's your chances on Joe Hendry taking the title there, JPO?
Gotta put it on.
I think he will. Unless like WWE's like, hey, listen, we're taking him in a couple of months, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but
I don't see why
again,
not.
who's to say Hendry couldn't show up in the Rumble as champion? Right?
Well, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah. Unless they were like, we're taking him in and he can't like do your dates anymore, which I don't see why they would. So like,
Well,
oh no,
but
I think
yeah,
now's the time
if
to
you
do
can
it.
have the Knockouts champion, the current Knockouts champion in the Rumble,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't see why you couldn't have the current
I've
TNA
been
champion and a guy who's been
since
on NXT and been getting over.
mhm.
Have Joe
They already
Hendry
like
chance
him.
to
Yeah,
start the
he's
Rumble.
fought for the title. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I'm
fought for
not.
the
I'm not
title, so
saying he
why
has to
not?
win the Rumble, anything like that. But like,
No,
show
no,
up
no, no.
as the
But a
champion, that'd be
Jordan
awesome.
Grace, similar to Jordan
Yeah,
Grace
for
appearance,
sure.
absolutely. I
It
thought
would
they
make
might
more
do it this
impact than
year.
like Nick Nemeth being the champion going to Rumble. They'll just be like, oh, there's Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah,
right.
there's never again. No, for sure. I mean, and we are still only in October, so who knows if he'll even be champ come January. But
Mhm.
no, I think that's definitely a huge possibility. I even thought that might happen this year. I was saying this year with Moose, like that would have been fun. That would have been a fun
Oh,
pop.
is that was that special guest referee Frankie Kazarian?
Kazarian,
Yeah,
Kazarian,
okay.
which is a kind of the little caveat heel because he's only heel actually. This is a face and face match here
Okay.
for the world title.
But he has issues with both of them, so that makes it
Right.
interesting, I guess.
Okay. Gotcha.
Wait, did you
Oh.
say interesting? Share my screen.
Oh boy.
I can just say buzzword.
And on Sunday, NXT Halloween Havoc is happening. Trick Williams defends the title against Ethan Page in a Devil's Playground match. You know what that is? I don't know. And then Andre Chase takes on Rich
Didn't they say something like tables, ladders, and scares, whatever that means?
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Oh,
We're getting
okay.
there.
Or is that the same match or a different match? I can't remember.
Different match. Andre versus Ridge Holland in an ambulance match. I think Andre's about to die.
Okay.
North American champion Kalani Jordan takes on a member of Fatal Influence here, which is either JC Jane, Fallon Hendry, and then Jasmine Nix.
Yeah.
Tag team match here. Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade taking on the new team of Julia and Stephanie Vacour. They had a tag match this week. Also, Zarya debuted this week as well.
That could be an awesome match if done.
Zarya, the former Delta.
Yeah. Fun to see. I believe Cora Jade's return too as well. So yeah, former Deltas as you said, which I wasn't really too familiar with. But have you ever seen her live, Richie?
I haven't seen her live, but I've seen clips and I've seen full matches.
They did mention Australia, so I wasn't sure. This is your tables, ladders, and scares match. Obafemi getting his rematch against Tony D'Angelo, your current.
So, what is the scares part of that? Is it some haunted item like an oddity? Like, what is that?
I just saw within the last hour, I feel, an interview with Tony D'Angelo. Like, what is it? And he's like, I don't know. Like, he doesn't know either. Or he's just not letting it out of the bag. He's like, they're like, maybe Hornswoggle will appear. Maybe they don't know.
Oh, so, is it like maybe there's like a box and like you open it up and the boogeyman appears? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I think it's gonna be some shenanigans as well as like just weapons again.
I honestly, that would be a perfect thing to have the boogeyman at Halloween Havoc. Like that would make the most sense.
Oh,
if you ever had him make those random appearances. Yeah, at the Halloween Havoc.
Who else would make sense? Yeah, Zodiac, Brutus Beefcake will take the booking. Yeah, you got some options.
Sure.
Yeah.
I almost bought a Zodiac autograph tonight, but I passed.
Oh boy.
I get why like Ethan Page is like getting sort of rematched. I thought maybe they were going towards Trick Williams and Wesley, but it is what it is. I
would have guessed that too. I have a feeling we're gonna get that later on. Again, I feel like, especially with NXT too, like they're pay-per-views, but they're not in the same. I don't know if that makes sense. Like sometimes, there's a lot of this is very rematch heavy. Technically, this is a rematch. North American's a rematch. While this is a fresh match, it's still kind of a tag match. No titles are on the line. This is fresh, I guess. This is a rematch technically, so little rematch heavy, but it should be fun nonetheless. That's Sunday, so whole weekend of wrestling too. Again, if you want Saturday and TNA, Sunday NXT.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like tag match is building up to a fatal 4-way. I'm guessing. my opinion, my thought.
Okay. Yeah. Well, JPO, if you watch those, let me know if any of them are worth watching the replay, and I'll try to check out the replay.
Yeah. I think me and Rich are probably going to watch some TNA Saturday. If you want to join us, watch some TNA.
I maybe for a little bit, but I've got to do I got to do my drinking game that night with Wolfman for Halloween 5. So
yeah.
We have
good palate
Ooh, 5. I don't like 5. Yeah.
No, 5 is a boring one. But we'll try to spice it up with.
It ruins the fucking what's her face arc.
The Danielle Harris arc, yeah, it's kind of ruined
Yeah.
it immediately. Yeah, right
What's
after.
what's your character name? Jenny? Julie?
It's I don't remember. Whatever her name is, Danielle Harris. That's the one.
Jamie.
Jamie Lloyd. Yeah, that's right.
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right.
Points.
Points. All right, points to JPO. Nicely done. Yeah, so let's get into it. Kind of our main event tonight. JPO, if you be ready on that cage match, I'd like some facts as usual.
Oh yeah, let me look up Road Warrior.
Yeah, look up that while I'm kind of doing the intros for this, and then maybe I'll kind of suggest each match. What's going on with who, or what's going on with that person. What was the last time they stepped into a ring? That sort of thing. We'll talk about it. But yeah, so we're talking about No Mercy 2001, October 21st, 2001. So almost 23 years ago to the day. I wanted to pick an October show and an old No Mercy show. I had this one on DVD for a long time, so until I kind of sold off a good chunk of my DVDs,
on clearance from CVS. Never before or since did I ever see wrestling at CVS.
Yeah, right. I didn't still have the DVD. I sold off a good chunk of those since they had the network. I kept a few here and there, but yeah, I sold off.
I think I had this on VHS, but not like official VHS. I think I recorded it from the TV.
Maybe that's a good shot. But yeah, we are live from St. Louis, Missouri. Your commentators are Jim Ross and Paul Heyman, my favorite commentary team of all time. I love those guys together. They're so much fun. JR just hates Paul Heyman. It's great. He's a great just shithead heel. It's great. I know people, Gorilla and Bobby, whatever, things like that. I don't know, this short period of like 8 months where they were a commentary team together. I just thought it was so much gold. I thought it was great. I was kind of sad when they brought Jerry Lawler back. I was like, no, I like Paul Heyman and Jim Ross. Yeah, so we're still kind of in the midst of the alliance versus the WWF here, the invasion angle, if you will, but it's kind of breaking down. There's a lot of WWF guys in the alliance, guys that we're talking about like Christian or Test, guys that defected, things like that. So not too much remnants of it on this show as far as that goes, but we're kind of winding down the storyline here, so it makes sense. But yeah, we are going to start off with a tag team match for the WCW tag titles, because that's still a thing. Yeah, that's still a thing that we're doing right now, and they would retire all these WCW belts at the eventual Survivor Series thing, by the way. So a lot of unification matches, things like that. But we've got your champions, the Hardy Boys. Speaking of the Hardy Boys, still working 23 years, to the day now. Like I said, still having high profile matches. But yeah, the Hardy Boys taking on Lance Storm and the Hurricane.
That's a random team.
Yeah, very random team from the Alliance.
It's not the only random team on the show.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we got Lance Storm, accompanied by Ivory, of all people, and Hurricane with Mighty Molly. She did for a little while. So she has broken away from Spike Dudley, and she is now Mighty Molly. Yeah, JPO post-match, if you want to remind me when Lance Storm last time he stepped into a ring, if you could, and maybe what Ivory and Molly are up to, maybe, or something like that. So, maybe last time
also too, real quick, just because we were interested before.
For sure, yeah.
57 times the Road Warriors and Demolition clashed, but usually in a lot of six-mans, because this is already at the point where Crush is around. So it's after Crush, all house shows except for one Saturday Night's Main Event and a couple of those like MSG specials that only MSG got or New Yorkers got on the MSG channel. So only one like national televised match, and that was a 6-win along with the Ultimate Warrior. So, never a straight up tag on normal TV.
All right. Yeah, no, it sounds good. So yeah, we've got a fun opener here, despite what, when you say the 4 good workers here, getting it going. So we start out with Jeff Hardy and Hurricane. They kind of trade some takedowns and counters. Well, these guys know each other very well, obviously. Shane Helms kind of his North Carolina ties to the Hardy Boys here. But yeah, there's a big hip toss. There's a tag into Matt. They hit a big wheelbarrow suplex, which looked really good on Hurricane for a 2 count. Got a blind tag to Lance Storm. They hit a really nice kind of Samoan drop neck breaker combo. Looked really good as well. Tag into the Hurricane, but Matt fights back with a double clothesline. Jeff gets a tag. There's a leaping lariat and a jawbreaker. Storm tosses Jeff outside, but Hurricane goes for a big dive, and Matt cuts him off. These guys kind of brawl outside for a minute, and Hurricane gets on top and hits a big crossbody on the Hardys, doing his flying thing, taking them out. There's a tag in the Storm. He hits a huge drop kick. Always had a really good drop kick. It's a double suplex. Both these guys kind of trading tags back and forth, but Jeff eventually fights back with a Whisper in the Wind and a backbreaker for 2. tags Matt in, House of Fire with the clothesline, takes down Storm. They hit Poetry in Motion on Storm, but they missed the Hurricane. But Matt fights back with a guillotine leg drop and gets that on Hurricane for a 2. It's a big double super kick on Matt. And then Matt dumps Storm to the outside. This is where the women start to get involved. There's kind of a bunch of brawls between Lita gets involved, starts Hurricane on everybody. Crowd's going crazy. Then Jeff hits a low blow to Ivory that split leg drop to Ivory. Yeah, just right there down below.
Hey, woman violence.
Yeah. Storm puts the maple leaf on Jeff Hardy, but Lita hits a big hurricanrana on Lance Storm. Crowd's going nuts for that. They love Lita. And then that allows Matt to hit a twist of fate on Hurricane, and Jeff hits the swanton on Hurricane for the eventual 3 count. So your winners and still WCW Tag Team Champions, the Hardy Boys. And I believe this one didn't go too long. Your opening match, about 7.5 minutes or so. But a pretty fun opener. I mean, these guys all hit their kind of big moves. No, nothing botched. Everything looked good. Had good chemistry. But Richie, any thoughts on this opener here? I thought it was pretty fun for what it was.
Yeah, I guess I'm not the only one who had no recollection that Ivory was ever a manager of Lance Storm, right? I forgot. I was like, what?
Maybe it was just like, hey, Lance could use a person. Who we got laying around in the Alliance? Ivory.
Because I forgot that Ivory was even a part of the Alliance. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. She was. Because like women were kind of, this was still around the time, but it would change a month later. But like it was around the time that they didn't have a woman's title, so the women were just sort of around.
Well, as we'll talk about on this show, and the only women's match we'll talk about, which didn't involve any kind of titles or anything, and definitely indicative of where the women's division was in 2001.
But the match itself was fun. But it just felt like it's like you're in the Alliance, you team up. The Lance Storm and the Hurricane are a very random tag team. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But they could work. But yeah, I could tell the Hurricane's European champion at the time. I could tell the crowd probably wanted to cheer Hurricane. He got a pop when he came out too. So it's like, they probably
he was starting to get over. He had just changed his music. If you remember, he had that goofy music at first. It was like like when he was first doing the Hurricane thing. It was a little weird.
Still face paint Hurricane too, if you look.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he didn't actually have the mask yet. But yeah, he's finally got his superhero music that he would have for most of the rest of his run. And I think the crowd enjoyed sort of some of his antics, and he got over, especially in the next year or so. So he was getting over here. They enjoyed it.
So this is a fun match. Given the sort of you probably didn't. I thought the match was really good, and pretty good and good opener, and Hardy Boys were way over it, obviously at this time, they've always been over, but particularly now with the women, Jesus. So they would often open shows because they're good. They're good to get the crowd riled up. So
yeah. JBO, I didn't know. Did you actually watch any of the show, or no? It's okay if you didn't. I just was curious.
I've seen it in the past, and I'm watching it right now.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, feel free to comment on whatever you want match-wise, but if you want to hit us with some cage facts, that's fine too.
Yeah, so Ivory will total around for a couple more years. At the end of 2003, Ivory will be around. Just got a sporadic indies until 2006. It looks like she retired. And then the 2 more times we saw Ivory on television would be for both Rumbles. The first Rumble in 2018 for the women, and then 2022, where she would actually reprise her right to censor gimmick very briefly.
Oh, that's right. She came out in the pantsuit or the skirt or something like that. Yeah.
And the annoying music, absolutely.
Yes.
Molly Holly would be around until about early 2005. Only a couple indie matches here. Most notable one in 2018, appearing for Chikara. A couple other small ones there. The Mr. WrestleMania Battle Royal in 2009, where the commentators didn't know half the people that were in it. Again, the first Rumble in 2018. And then she would also be in the 2020 and 2022 Rumbles. So those are her only appearances wrestling-wise.
She's an agent there now. She works for them now, though. She's an agent. So
yeah, I would love to see her do an actual run like Trish. At least she's still got in there. So Lance Storm's first retirement would come after a one-night stand with Chris Jericho in 2005. He was happy with it until they kept cutting his time. He says when he first made that decision, they were told, you're going to have 20 minutes, you're going to fucking kill it. All right, you got 15. If you guys do under 10, that'd be great. If you could squeeze under 8, that would be really great. So
Yeah,
it's a 7-minute match.
I remember
so.
that match seeming like it was very rushed when they actually got to it. Because man, they were
it's a great 7-minute match, but it's
no,
still
it's
a 7-minute
awesome.
match.
No, but they fly through it, and then like just Incredible comes out real quick, like hits the kendo stick, and it's over. It's just like done. And quick pose, and we're done. We're moving on to the next match. Yeah,
so I know he's said in interviews that like I might have stayed retired if they'd actually let me have a great banger of a last match because Lance Storm and Jericho started together, so he likes the idea of ending his career with Jericho. But that happened, so he ended up doing appearances Ring of Honor where he saw Bryan Danielson, and after that he was like. They were like, "Come on, Lance, one more with Danielson."
And I had that DVD. It's a great match. Great match.
Yeah, it's less than a year later. It's about 10 months later he would fight Danielson. Great match, 27 minutes. So that's probably the match that he really wanted to get out of his system here. Then he was going to stay retired again. And what happened was 1PW, a company in the UK, called him. And they're like, "Well, I really want you, and it's gonna be tag matches with you, Incredible." And so he's like, "That'd be kind of cool, me Incredible teaming up for the first time since early 2000s." So he's like, "All right, my wife just mentioned wanting a vacation in Europe." So he goes, "If you fly her out," and he's like, "I sent them a huge number," and they agreed. And he's like, "Well, fuck, I'm out of retirement. All right." So he was shoehorned into coming back, and after that, he would stick around, semi-retirement, but appearing several times. A few times throughout each year, a couple more times for Ring of Honor. He'd fight Chris Hero. He would team with Lance Storm at one point, Mike Bennett. House of Hardcore for Tommy Dreamer. Last time we saw him, though, it ties into the match from tonight. 2016 is the last time he wrestled at a WrestleCon Super Show with Matt Hardy. So it looks like he is done. That was about 8 years ago. I know there was rumors that originally AEW wanted him for that Jericho anniversary match where he fought Luther and Penico. So he might actually truly be done now. Because that was 8 years ago now. So
no, I think he's happy. Yeah, he runs a wrestling school. He does the once a week like podcast on Figure 4. Like he's just enjoying like just being like a teacher and just doing his thing.
I know he had hands in training Tyler Breeze, Chelsea Green. Like he's had some good students.
Emma, a few other people. Peyton Royce. I believe he's an agent for TNA. I see him in on backstage.
I know he was not that long ago, if not still. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he had a match with Brian Alvarez as well at some point too. Didn't he have a match with Brian? I'm pretty sure he's had matches with Brian Alvarez. Because
maybe.
Back in 2010. So yeah.
But yeah, this is that's interesting deep dive into Lance Storm. But I
just want to be serious for a moment.
Yeah. I can do that right here.
If I can be serious for a minute without being interrupted.
Yeah, gosh, guys, don't interrupt him.
Oh, sorry, I interrupted him. Because we got to move on. Because we cut backstage. RVD is arriving at the building. He runs into William Regal, it was a weird thing for Regal this time. He was like the Alliance Commissioner. What does that mean? How much power does he have as the Alliance Commissioner? I don't know.
Because he books alliance matches, but that doesn't make he books alliance matches. But I don't know. Doesn't it
never made any sense. He broke
he's
off.
A heel commissioner, but
you
also got Mick Foley there, isn't it?
Mick Foley's there. So is it like a dual commissioner thing? Who has the power? I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. But he runs around. Easy job because he just walks around in a suit most of the time. He didn't wrestle a whole lot around this time. He wants RVD to apologize for frog splashing Steve Austin on SmackDown, and he says I'm assuming you're going right to his locker room to apologize, and but RVD says he's in it for himself. He's all about Rob Van Dam, and Regal just basically says don't do anything tonight you'll regret. So they kind of have a little setup there to see how he's going to do in the triple threat match. Vince McMahon arrives in a limo. Michael Cole runs into him like the geek that he is. Vince tells him to put his jacket on. He drops the jacket. Frosted Tips Michael Cole helps him put his jacket on. Vince says that all your questions will be answered tonight. Says he's here to make an impact, and he says next time you drop my jacket, I'll drop you. So all right, so there you go. Michael Cole fully in geek mode. So we move on to our second matchup here, as we got some Haas warfare, as we've got Test versus Kane. Nothing on the line here, just kind of a grudge match, Test and Kane. And JR has a fun fact that this is his first appearance as Kane was in this very building in St. Louis at that Bad Blood 1997 show, this very arena. So just a fun fact, 4 years later, Kane still running strong, obviously. Kane hits a big back elbow to start things off and an elbow drop. There's a couple of splashes in the corner. This is the best Kane ever looked, by the way. I love 2001 Kane. He's massive. He is ripped. He's fast. Yeah, he is swolled up, but he's fast and agile. Like I love this Kane. It's kind of like my favorite era.
I want him to win the title in 02. There's also moments in 02. Like,
yeah,
I don't. Candy Vick aside, horrible story. There's moments where I was like, "Oh, put the title on."
Well, no, and on the Peacock thing, it wants to start up No Mercy 2002, which was that match with Triple H, where he gave the title. Because he's on the cover of that DVD. It's just the Kane mask. He eventually hits a big power slam on Test. It's Kane in a very impressive spot. Gorilla presses Test over the top.
Holy shit!
That was like holy. I wrote, damn, holy shit. This is some good Haas warfare. I like this match. Just to preview my thoughts at the end. I like a good Haas match. This certainly was. Test right in front of crooked referee Nick Patrick hits Kane with the ring bell at ringside. Patrick does not call for the DQ because he's that crooked alliance referee who pretends like he didn't see it. Back in the ring, Test is pounding on Kane kind of in the corner with rights and lefts and knees and whatnot. Test hits a big hanging vertical suplex. Again, very impressive for Test. He kind of hung him up there for a few seconds and then dropped him. Test is a big, strong dude as well. Kane hits a short arm clothesline, misses an elbow on his comeback. Test hits a big sidewalk slam. Not the first time we see a sidewalk slam tonight. There were two moves we saw a lot tonight: a sidewalk slam and the catapult. Oh my God, were there so many catapults on the show? Like there was about 5 different catapults on the show, and about 3 or 4 sidewalk slams. So Test goes up to the top rope. He misses the big elbow drop. Kane hits a side slam to fight back, and then he clotheslines Test over the top rope. But on the outside, Test hits a big boot on the outside, right to the side of his head. Looked really good. Rolls him back in, only gets a 2 count. Kane inside, Test goes for the big boot again, but Kane ducks it and hits a choke slam. But he only gets a 2 count off of that. Kind of a slugfest back and forth. Kane picks him up, hits a big standing power slam, goes up top, but he misses the top rope clothesline. And Test hits a huge pump handle slam on Kane. Again, very impressive to pump handle slam a 320-pound dude. And crowd pop for it, only a 2 count. Test hits the big top rope elbow drop, but also only gets a 2 count for that. He goes out and gets a chair, but Kane hits a standing drop kick into the chair. Again, agile Kane, man, just a big old standing drop kick. Looked great. And then he tries to Kane tried to use the chair. Nick Patrick stops him from using it, grabs it, allows Test to hit a low blow. And then he hits the big boot for the 3 count and pins Kane. And after the match, Kane grabs Nick Patrick, choke slams him not once, but twice, and then hits that kind of falling powerbomb he did for a while. I remember it was a finishing.
The only time I saw that move was that it was like, it was used as a trademark move in the SmackDown 3 just right. I'm like, when did he do that move?
Yeah, apparently he did it for a little while here in 2001 because he hits Nick Patrick with that and a couple of choke slams after the match, and the crowd popped for that. So Richie, any thoughts on this one? I enjoy this. I thought this was fun, scary man Haas warfare. I liked it more than I probably should have, but it was a lot of fun.
I like a good meaty match. It was a good match. I did like the commentary in this match where it was like JR's giving out to the referee. He's like, oh, he did it right in front of the referee. And then Paul Heyman's like, maybe you didn't see it. He's like, what is... And JR goes, what was he looking at, your hat? And Paul Heyman goes, well, it is a really good hat. But yeah, and no, this is fun. I thought it was a great meaty man match, and I enjoyed it. And it's a shame Test didn't go. I thought Test had more potential than what he ended up,
He always kind of floated around that like mid card to sometimes occasional upper mid card. Yeah, I mean, flirted with like European Intercontinental titles, tag titles, but yeah, never really got to that next level, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like I think you could put you that at one point you could have pushed him to like that next level, and people would have bought it. Like he's decent enough wrestler, he's got a good look. So yeah, but yeah, this match is good.
Yeah, JPO, any thoughts on this or these guys or anything you got for us?
Yeah, Meltzer liked it. He gave it 3 stars. This is before there was more than 5, so keep that in mind. Just looked at Test in November would have a less than 2-week run as IC champ, and that's it as far as titles go. He never held another title. There's teases of it. He would be around until 2004. Would get released, do some indies, international stuff. Come back in 2006 for 1 more year. That's where he did some stuff over on the ECW and Sci-Fi brand as well. Once again, would get released, do some international, some indie stuff. 1 TNA match, only 1 TNA match at Hard Justice 07, teaming with Abyss and Sting under his real name. And then, unfortunately, his last tour would be in Japan in early 2009, right before he passed, wrestling the likes of Rene Dupree and Lance Hoyt on that tour. And then, unfortunately, we lost him in 2009. So So
I know there was a thing in Ring of Honor. I know this from personal experience because I was buddies with Bordeaux Walker. I'm sure JP, you've seen Bordeaux Walker. Occasionally used to wrestle a lot in Florida. Did a lot of road trips with him. He's a buddy of mine. He did a match in Ring of Honor against Samoa Joe as like a mystery opponent one time, but that was originally supposed to be Test. It was supposed to be Test. Because Mick Foley was like introducing him, and it was supposed to be like, hey, I got a mystery opponent for you, who's a big dude, and it would have made sense, Test, like he'd just been released. It was would have made sense. He's a big star.
Are they former union members?
I don't know.
Yeah.
They were in a stable called the Union.
Yeah, okay. Called the Union. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So he was supposed to bring him out, and it wasn't, and all they had in the back was Vordell, somebody who looked kind of tough, and brought him out, and the crowd went, who? And then proceeded to have kind of a stinker of a match, unfortunately.
It was, Well, the match, I've seen the match because I bought
the match is okay, but I mean, like the crowd just doesn't care.
It's one of those, it's unfortunately it's a hyped match of like I've got somebody. It's a guy you've never heard of, so it's a bit of a who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Kane so far, by the way, unless he has another normal match, his last normal match was the same as Shawn Michaels, that Crown Jewel tag.
Crown Jewel match, unfortunately.
Kane, wrestle another match, man. Don't be like Shawn. Get that off your record.
Kane will be at a very small Comic-Con I'm taking my girlfriend to on Sunday in Greenville, so
nice.
He'll be there signing autographs.
Him and Undertaker are big Trump guys, and Cornette hates it.
Yeah.
That's all right.
It'll be him and Hacksaw Duggan. The Hardys were supposed to be there, but they had to cancel. So because they're probably at Bound for Glory. So doing that thing. So there you go. So getting back to the show here, Coach, and this is pretty funny. I kind of like this promo. Coach goes to Steve Austin's locker room.
This is funny.
This is really funny. So Coach goes to the locker room, knocks on the door. Deborah answers the door. He wants to talk to Stone Cold, obviously, about the title match. Stone Cold doesn't want to talk to Coach, but starts relaying information and lines to Deborah to say to him. But hear every single line he says. He says, Angle is a sorry son of a bitch. He says, RVD is a big old piece of trash. And as he's saying this, RVD is a big old piece of trash. And Deborah goes, Stone Cold says RVD is a big old piece of trash. Angle's a sorry son of a bitch. Stone Cold says Angle's a sorry son of a bitch. Like she's relaying.
Well, no, she would PG. She's
PG
wholesome.
Up,
She would G it up. She'd be like, she's a sorry SOB. Tell her I'm gonna tell Coach I'm gonna if you're gonna get out of here, I'm gonna kick his ass. If you're gonna get out of here, I'm gonna whoop your butt.
Whoop your butt, yeah. So the Vince is an even bigger piece of trash, ditto. And it says, thank you, get out. And she goes, thank you, now you can leave. And so this is a funny way to do Stone Cold. Again, I love heel Stone Cold around this time. I don't care what anybody says. I enjoyed a lot of his work. I thought it was really funny. He's just kind of a coward, gaslighter. He's really funny. I enjoyed his work here. I know it probably killed some of his momentum at the time, but I don't care. I think he's really entertaining. So yeah, good stuff here. So yeah, we move on to what I was alluding to. This is where the women's division was in WWF in 2001, because our only women's match on this card is the first ever lingerie match.
Well, before that, she was walking. She's walking backstage and showed Matt. Stacey's walking backstage and showed Matt Hardy her outfit, and then
Lita came in and awkwardly was like, "Yes, I love you, baby. Yeah, you're great today. You look so amazing." Yeah, he kind of falls over swords.
She was like, "Hey, where's Edge? No reason. Just want to see where Edge is."
Just want to talk to him real quick. Yeah, just want to talk to him about his match. Yes, your first ever lingerie match. They've got kind of looks like a sheet like over the lights above the ring. They kind of make like a purpley kind of light. There's like a different color scheme going on. So we've got Stacy Keibler versus Tori Wilson, both kind of representing the Alliance. Again, kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's like
Alliance match.
Alliance versus Alliance match. Yeah, very, very strange one there. But yeah, they both got kind of robes on and then they got their stuff underneath it. So Tori goes to Irish Whip Stacy, and she very impressively does a big cartwheel out of both of them. Again, crowd is like actually popping for most of this match. So I won't say it like didn't get over. Like crowd was enjoying pretty much everything.
They're popping because they're horny. That's dudes.
Oh, of course, yeah, it's a bunch of dudes in there. Yeah, and it only goes, and it helps Richie. This match only goes 3 minutes, so it didn't go over long. You know what I mean? They didn't, stay out there forever. But yeah, so there's a shoulder block by Tori. Stacy takes her robe off and slaps Tori in the face. She pulls out some kind of like dominatrix whip and starts spanking Tori and spanks Jack Doan, the referee. There's kind of a roll around cat fight. They do the spot where they roll over Jack Doan, the referee. Paul Heyman had a funny line where he said, "I want to be Jack Doan when I grow up." That was funny.
And then JR had a good line, because you know how when you remember like I remember commentary lines, but I don't necessarily remember the match that commentaries, but the line stickly. So yeah, Paul Heyman goes, "I want to be Jack Doan when I grow up," and then JR goes, "He wants to be Jack Doan when he grows up."
Yeah. Stacy does her big long leg kind of choke in the corner, with her foot. That always looked good with her long legs. Tori does a sunset flip for a 2, and they did some nice looking, fair, all fair is fair, some nice looking kind of rolling cradles and some rolling pin attempts. They look pretty good. It all looked pretty decent. And then Stacy goes up top. Tori snapmares her off for a 2 count, and then Tori hits taking after Tajiri, her current boyfriend in storyline, hits kind of a backspring elbow, and then folds Stacy up kind of pretzel-wise, just kind of folds her up for a 3 count. So that is the entirety of the match, about 3 minutes. There you go. So I would be interested in both these ladies, kind of how long they were with the company. I know they both have been inducted. Oh yeah, you got it, I'm sure. But Richie, any thoughts on this banger of a slobber knocker of a match here? Yes.
Look, I mean, like Tori could at least she learned to wrestle a bit more than she did. I mean, last time we saw her, she was in that stupid that was it scaffold match where she she obviously couldn't do any moves, so she didn't do any moves basically. Yeah. And there's just so at least she can do some moves. She's athletic at least, but yeah, it's just in that, hey, you got a cute model period will make you into a wrestler. But I don't know, I might not mind Tori Wilson, and I don't mind Stacy here. I mean, I think they had enough charisma to get by. Now, would I put if the Hall of Fame was serious, would I put them both in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. But
I do. Fuck no. The answer is no. I do. Let's be honest.
If the Hall of Fame was serious, I'm saying.
Well, you said maybe.
I don't know. Look, I'm being polite.
I'm not. They don't deserve it, especially Stacy.
But
I guess there's only so many women's wrestlers. So what are you gonna do? Especially around this time.
Put him in the Hall of Fame. You wait until there's, because now they're getting to the point where there's plenty.
Sure.
Yeah,
and rightfully so.
Yeah, and yeah, I but yeah, I don't know. This match was fun. You know how Brian Aaron talks about this all the time, and Vinny and all that. But you know how the worst parts of wrestling come on when people walk in the room. And I was watching this match.
Oh yeah.
I was watching this match in the Care walked in the room. Like, well, why did it have to be this match?
It's always that match. We have a thing, I don't know if you've ever heard, it's called Murphy's Law, where anything that can happen will happen. So, yeah, they couldn't walk in on Booker T and Undertaker. They have to walk in on that match. Yeah, for sure.
Well, you could walk in on Booker T and Undertaker, because we'll get into that match was boring. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. This match was fine. I mean, like teenage me would have pretty given it 5 stars. But
I'm weird. Teenage me would have also said 0 stars.
Yeah.
When I want to jerk off, I watch other things. All right.
What you got for us, JPO?
All right. So yeah, these guys suck. Stacy's there until 2005. She at least put someone over. She put Jillian Hall over on Velocity, and then got out.
Gave her the run.
And then she was on How I Met Your Mother and dated George Clooney, and that's her highlights. Tori Wilson lasted a little bit longer.
You don't like Stacy.
No, I think I was fine with her until she got in the Hall of Fame, and I went, "Wow, the bar is so low." Again, I'm sorry. Name me a.
I know, but just a tiny voice.
Name me a great promo. Name me a great match. You can't. And she wasn't even there that long. She was there for 4 measly years, and she's in the Hall of Fame. Come on.
Hey, I'll give her credit. She didn't give into the peer pressure of getting big fake boobs like Vince McMahon wanted all of them to have. So at least give her that.
If it's stood up for that, no, I'll cherish that.
Because she had said, and Mick Foley's even confirmed this because she was friends with Mick Foley, that they pressured her to do it. They wanted her to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I mean, not surprising. Mickey James. All of this the same.
To be fair, she's got legs and she knows how to use them. There you go. That's
Tori's there a little bit. Tori's there a little bit longer until 2007 here. She would come back, though, periodically, again, in that horribly booked Battle Royal, and in 2009 at Mania, the 18 and 2021 Rumbles. She's even in the Evolution Rumble at the one and only female pay-per-view. Remember that? Remember we're going to give women their own pay-per-view back in 2018?
Yeah, which was like, hey, we like women, but really it was, hey, we've got a woman star in Ronda Rousey. That was any reason it was.
So we haven't seen her since 2021 now.
Okay.
As far as match-wise.
All right. Yeah, we go backstage with Michael Cole, who's with Kurt Angle. He starts to cut a promo, but Vince comes in and wishes him the best of luck in his match. Kurt Angle says he doesn't need luck because he's going to win the WWF title for the second time. He says it's true. In fact, it's Van Dam true.
Kurt Angle was so like third wheeling in this fucking feud.
It's weird given that he's third wheeling in a feud that really the Stone Cold Kurt Angle part of it is like the main crux of the feud. Like they're still basically feuding, but but RVD is like the most over guy in the match. We'll get to it, but oh my god, was the crowd into RVD? They loved him around this time. Yeah,
it's just weird. It felt like when like 2000 when it was The Rock, Triple H, and Kurt Angle. It was Triple H and Kurt Angle having that romance storyline with Stephanie, and Rock was just there as a WWE champion.
Was just there. Yeah. So it kind of feels like that. It feels like Stone Cold and RVD are kind of carrying at least the last 2 or 3 weeks of storylines for this for sure. Kurt's there though. We get Lillian Garcia. Speaking of Lillian, is with Christian backstage. He cuts a very kind of generic promo just about he's better. People know he's better. Whatever. It's not a very good promo. So he's had his better days promo wise. He's had his better days promo wise. It's a fairly basic promo. But we get it's brother versus brothers. We've got a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. Christian versus Edge. Christian the champion going into this one. It's a pretty long one. It's about 22 minutes, so fairly long for a singles ladder match. But they start out kind of brawling on the ramp. Christian goes into the barricade. He hangs Edge on the ropes. They get a ladder in the ring, but Edge baseball slides the ladder into Christian. They brawl into the crowd a little bit, kind of into the first row just for a few minutes. Back towards the ring, Edge back body drops Christian back into ringside. This is the first of many catapults we see tonight as he would catapult Christian into the ladder. We would see this spot a lot tonight, so get used to it. I feel like we do things on indie shows, JPO, where back like, hey, tonight. tonight. Like, hey, we're doing this top rope elbow drop. Nobody do a top elbow elbow. You know what I mean? I feel like they didn't have those meetings because, oh my god, people repeat a lot of the same moves tonight, as we'll see. Because it wasn't the only missile drop kick. Booker T hit one, Chris Jericho hit one, so it wasn't the only ones. But there's a flapjack onto Edge onto a propped up ladder. They were standing on the steps. Christian gets dropped, straddling the ladder, kind of a low blow style. Ow, yeah, that definitely hurts.
I think Paul Heyman was like, Edge just cost him the opportunity to be an uncle.
Yes. So they prop the ladder up in between the ropes, but Christian does kind of a seated back senton, knocking the ladder up to Edge's face. Christian, he kind of rams the ladder into the gut of Edge in the corner and leaves him there. Goes to grab a chair, but Edge flips Christian over the top rope onto the ladder. That looked like it sucked as well. And then this is the first of the lines tonight where JR whipped out how does God learn how to fall on the ladder? I was wondering when he was going to bust it out. He busted it out pretty early in this one. How did he fall on a ladder? So there's an electric chair drop face first onto Christian onto the ladder. That looked like it kind of sucked too. The ladder gets bridged in the ropes. Edge gets whipped into it. There's another catapult. Edge gets catapulted underneath the ladder in the corner, face first. Christian goes to climb the ladder. Edge also climbs a different ladder side by side. He does that kind of. Did he ever have a name for it? What the seated pull down?
Just Edge-o-matic, I think.
The Edge-o-matic. The Edge-o-matic. Yeah, he does that to Christian off the ladder. And then they go back up again. And this time it's Christian getting the better of it as he hits his reverse DDT off the ladder. Christian tries a one-man concerto, but Edge is able to kick the chair back into his face. Edge props the ladder up onto two chairs, lays Christian out, and hits a top rope splash onto Christian across the ladder. Edge climbs the ladder, but Christian's able to kind of ram him off the ladder with another one, and they both go off. And then as Christian goes to climb the ladder, Edge jumps off the top rope and spears him off the ladder, kind of reminiscent of the WrestleMania spot, but just not hanging. He just kind of spears him off the side of the ladder.
His pinpoint accuracy is great. He does that well.
No, yeah, I mean, he's able to hit it, and he didn't ram himself into the ladder when he did it. He's pretty accurate when he did it. Yeah, give him his credit. They both get back, climb back up again up top. They take a huge tumble over the ropes to the outside. It even got a holy shit chant with both those guys kind of falling off the ladder onto the outside. Christian always did that spot. It always looked scary when he would do that in those TLC matches. He'd always take those big tumbles out, and then they both go up to the ladder. Or Christian goes up to the ladder. Edge hits him with a chair on the back and lays him out, and then gets the chairs up there and lays a chair on top of one ladder, and then hits a one-man concerto as they're both kind of up there. That looked like it sucked as well.
That was gross.
And Edge grabs the title and wins back the IC title and wins the ladder match here. So, but yeah, Richie, any thoughts on this ladder match here? Yeah, it's kind of deliberately paced. Again, not the fastest paced one, but they built up some good spots, and everything looked pretty good. Crowd got into it eventually, so it was all right.
So it's sort of spoiled. You know how we were talking about hot shotting and how sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. Yeah, Edge would hold this title for 2 weeks and lose it to Test, and then lose it to. I'm sure JP will get to it, but I remember.
That's the reign I've mentioned that Test has lasted for 2 weeks. So
yeah, right, yeah. It's it's not very long at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the Invasion was very bad with that. There's a couple titles that the Invasion was like, fuck it.
We'll get to one soon. But yeah, I thought this match was really good. I've always been a huge fan of Christian's music in this time. That music is a banger. I love that music. I had that on the WWE Anthology music. It was on one of the CDs. I'd blast that song all the time.
Speaking of songs, it survived, I guess, the cut, because sometimes I've seen it edited, but Edge's Rob Zombie song survived this cut on the network, so he came out.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just like you think, the Edge and Christian song. Yeah,
but no, he came out and it played the Never Gonna Stop Rob Zombie music. So,
I love that song too. I've got the actual Rob Zombie album that song's from. So great album, by the way. But this match is really good. Great chemistry. Again, I don't know. I just hoping Christian would have the title longer than he did, because I thought maybe they would sort of hot shotting. I just thought that he could probably use the title more often, but really, really, really solid match, and yeah, you could tell like Edge was a sort of a star on the rise. He wouldn't sort of come into his own until like 2005, but because I think injuries would sort of plague him, but yeah, this was really good, man.
Yeah, anything you got
Just
to
to
go?
yeah, I just had to look up their ladder history. I thought that'd be fun.
Mhm.
So Edge would have 16 types of ladder matches in his career so far, and that includes TLC's, Money in the Banks, multi-mans, stuff like that. His last one would be in 2010, so it's been well over a decade. He won the main event of TLC 2010, defeating Kane, Alberto Del Rio, and Rey Mysterio to win the World Heavyweight title. So what I said was 16. Christian though, 24 different ladder matches throughout his career, both of them in the same debuting one too, the Terry Reynolds Invitational one back in No Mercy '99 that helped football teams on the map.
Tit. That's right.
The tit, baby. Christian also had some ladder matches in TNA, fighting Samoa Joe, as well as Kazarian in TNA, and his last three would be all being AEW, where he's yet to win one. So, there's your ladder history of Edge and Christian.
Oh, there you go. So maybe Christian, the master of the ladder matches. I don't know.
Sorry, the one with Kazarian, is that the one of the contract where the contract falls off the ladder before they could even grab it? I think there's a botch with the contract.
Number one contender, fight for the right tournament final ladder. Yeah. That's a long name, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a Russo thing. All right, so we cut to Spike Dudley, who's at WWF New York, just drinking, getting drunk at the bar. They ask him how he's doing after the spot, which I've seen this on compilations. This is still a holy shit spot. They flash back to SmackDown where Bubba and Devon whip him into the ropes and then launch him like face first over the ropes to the outside through a table, like a flapjack almost. It is disgusting. It is like definitely a holy shit spot. It's gross.
I mean, he could have sold the injury a bit.
Yeah, I think he was, because that's why he wasn't on the show.
So like he's just at the bar. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think we'll get to it. This Tajiri and Big Show. I think he was a tag team with the Big Show for a little while. I think I remember. I think it's SummerSlam.
And in this period, that's like a
So there might be
explain the weird pairing of Tajiri.
Yeah, and so I think we subbed in like other cruiserweight guy, that we still had that non-alliance guy, that we could sub in for this. So, we'll get to it. But yeah, they briefly mentioned Molly. He does like a Molly Who thing, whatever. So
some chick flirts with him.
Some chick flirts with him, and that's all we got. We get to speaking of the Dudleys, we get to the WWF tag team titles are on the line as your champions. The Dudley Boys, Bubba and Devon, are taking on Tajiri and the Big Show. Yeah, the most even more random than Hurricane and Lance Storm is Tajiri and the Big Show teaming up here. Interesting. We'll see what happens. Tajiri and Bubba Ray start out with Bubba's punching and chopping Tajiri. He kind of cuts off his kicks. Dudley Boys come in and hit a double shoulder tackle, but Devon eats a side kick from Tajiri, and then Tajiri hits him with a standing moonsault for 2. Tags in the Big Man, tags in the Big Show. He hits his kind of back butt thrusts in the corner and does like a little hip swivel. Is when he was doing like weird gimmicks around this time where he's trying to be like sexy. I don't know. It was kind of it was very strange. He hits a double clothesline to both the Dudley Boys and a couple of body slams as well. And then Tajiri hits a big somersault plancha to the outside on the Dudley Boys to lay them out. Back inside, Big Show hits his own sidewalk slam, and would not be the only sidewalk slam again we see tonight. Many of those this evening for 2 to Devon. And then Tajiri comes in and kicks, gets a couple of his side kicks there. There's a blind tag to Bubba, and Bubba comes in and hits a huge Bubba bomb to Tajiri. He launched him up in the air before dropping him down with this bomb. It looked really good. Devon comes in, hits some punches, tags Bubba back in. There's a double flapjack. Devon puts a long sleeper on Tajiri, but Tajiri kicks Devon coming off the top rope, trying to follow up on that. There's a tag to the Big Show, but the ref doesn't see it. And behind the referee's back, they hit the what's up to Tajiri and lay him out. Tajiri reverses a powerbomb attempt by Bubba into a DDT and finally tags the Big Man as he comes in with his clotheslines and boots. ropes. He chop blocks Devon. There's a blind tag to Tajiri. I don't know why he tagged in so quick. Like Tajiri, it's always a weird spot when the guy who was just getting beat up for like 5 minutes tags himself back in like 30 seconds later on a blind tag. It's like, why? This big guy's doing quite well. Just leave him in there. He's destroying these dudes and he's fresh. But he blind tags himself back in, hits a couple of wheel kicks, puts Devon on the tarantula, and hits a handspring elbow to both guys. Referee gets misted on accident as Devon ducks the mist, and the referee gets misted. There's a choke slam to Bubba, but there's no ref. Rhino comes in and hits the gore to the Big Show and rolls him out of the ring. But Tajiri back on the inside still has Bubba and hits a big buzzsaw kick and only gets a 2 count. But it's too much for Tajiri. Eventually gets overwhelmed and gets hit with a 3D for the 3 count. So your winners and still champions, the Dudley Boys. So I would definitely be interested, JPO, in what Tajiri's been up to, lately. So if you could fill me in, that'd be awesome. I think we know most of the other guys. We know what they've been up to, obviously. But Richie, any thoughts on this? Yeah, very strange, but crowd was a little dead for it initially, but I think they got into it near the end. But it wasn't bad. It was still a solid match. Still not bad.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a fun match for what it was. I thought they all worked pretty well here. But the other weird spot is like, okay, the what's up spot usually, when the baby faces, they'll do the what's up, and then obviously they didn't say what's up because the heels, but they also did the what's up spot behind the referee's back this time. But like when they're baby faces, it's just a move. So why bother doing it behind the referee's back when it's been considered illegal for a while? I don't know. Unless it's like Devon just did a more of a low blow this time. I don't know. It's wrestling logic. It's weird.
Well, and also at the beginning of the show, they said that the triple threat has been made no disqualification. Triple threats are always no disqualification.
Yeah, who are you gonna? Yeah, they're always disqualified.
It's just been announced at the beginning of the show that this match is now a no disqualification. It always was, but okay.
Yeah. So that was weird. For a while, I thought like Big Show's on the apron for a long time, and I was like, man, is Big Show doing anything in this match? But but it was cool when he got in there. He would like. It's weird that he's just like in a mid match here, and then like next month at the Survivor Series, he'd be in the main. He's on
the Team WWF. Yeah,
he's in the main event.
But the spoiler alert for that match, because I remember this very vividly. He's out pretty early as he eats like 5 finishers from everybody. He eats everybody's finishers, and he's like the first guy out. Yeah, it's weird.
And I also remember this very vividly. But when he's like making his entrance, JR buries him. He's like, yeah, he's a good athlete, but he's also going to make some big mistakes. I'm like, okay, Jesus, what did he do? What did he do wrong? But I don't know. This match was fine. It was what it was. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably supposed to be Big Show and Spike Dudley, which I guess same result. I think the crowd thought the 3D was coming like probably 5 minutes before it did, because you could every time they'd Irish whip him in the roads. Finally. But this is good.
Yeah, JPO, what you got for me?
So a couple of things of note here. This would be the last time they would team, except for 2 months later, Big Show and Tajiri would lose to the one of the first appearances of Billy and Chuck in December, and then they never tagged again. So they randomly 2 months later, like, oh yeah, these two are a team, aren't they? And then they never did it again.
Yeah, all right.
No, that's the end of them. The Dudleys, though, Devon go into semi-retirement back in 2016. Coming out of retirement 3 more times, though, or wrestling 3 more times since, rather, at the 1000th TNA Impact episode. Him and Bubba defeated the Desi Hit Squad. And then this year, in April, at the ECW kind of tribute show, they defeated Onita and Tommy Dreamer. And then they also teamed with Elijah, the former Elias, a few weeks later for a 6-man tag win as well. So Devon hasn't wrestled since April. We'll see if he'll do any more. Tajiri would be hanging and banging around until 2005 5, he would go back home to Japan. He'd stay there for well over a decade, not making many appearances in the U.S. here before returning to WWE very briefly. Did the Cruiserweight Classic as well as some 205 and NXT tapings. Just for about a few months there. Returning back to Japan. Ever since then, a couple of MLW appearances, maybe like a WrestleCon. He fought Joe Janela. This year at a different show during Mania weekend, he fought Super Crazy. So mostly just Japan though. But if you look at his match, though, it's like very active. Like, this year he's he's wrestling every month. Several matches already in October. He's wrestled 4 times in October already. So still very active in Japan.
Yeah, no, good for him. I remember that Cruiserweight Classic real quick. They did an exclusive thing just on the website, and you can still go find it if you look it up. They did a reunion of him and Regal. That was really funny for that Cruiserweight Classic. They filmed a thing where like Regal was like at some office or whatever, and Tajiri like walks in the door and he spots Regal and just gets this like giggly smile on his face. He's like and he starts like talking his like gibberish Japanese or whatever, and Regal just, oh no, oh god, no, I'm not doing this again. Just like a nice little mini reunion. Just a fun little like callback, like good stuff. So yeah, sorry, Richie. Go ahead.
I believe WWE like after the Cruiserweight Classic like briefly re-signed him, but I think he realized after like a few matches on 205 Live that he's just not equipped to the grueling WWE schedule.
He can't keep, and he can't. I don't think he can keep up with that type of wrestling, like that type of wrestling. Yeah, he's a much like just more deliberate guy. I mean, he's older now. What is he like? He's in his late 40s or something, right?
He's got to be, yeah. And I do notice too. As much as I'm saying he's active in Japan, I'm looking here like the first like 15 are all like tags. So I mean, it might be even with the tag, it might be a little bit of a easier schedule to a degree, and it's home. Like I said, he stayed home for a decade. Like, before he did that great stuff. And even then, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 matches, and he's back home. So
yeah, for sure. All right. So we go back to the locker rooms where Shane, Booker T, and Test are all hanging around. They're just talking about the Undertaker. I mean, they're just kind of talking smack here or there. But Booker T made me laugh out loud. He did say something that I laughed at. He said, "Undertaker's going to be a dead sucker walking." I don't know why that made me laugh, but that made me laugh.
Shane is cringy, just being all fucking amped up and really silly, just being like I see you're supposed to be cringe, then that the cringe pop up guy, but he did make me laugh because there was like they're talking about the spinneroonie, and then Test like spinneroonie, it's like spinneroonie. I'm like, no one calls it the spinneroonie.
Yeah, no, that and the dead sucker walking thing made me laugh though. I thought it was just Booker. The way Booker delivered it was funny. You're gonna be a dead sucker walking. Yeah, so I thought it was funny. But yeah, we get to our matchup here as we got just another grudge match here. Booker T taking on the Undertaker. I didn't hate this, Richie, but I think it went like 3 minutes too long. It feels like it just goes on too long. It's just kind of really slow paced, but I don't think it's necessarily horrible. I've seen way worse matches. But anyway, so Booker jumps Taker right as he gets off his motorcycle. They brawl at ringside a little bit. Taker gets whipped into the barricade. There's a boot to Booker on the outside, or back on the inside, excuse me, for a 2 count. Booker fights back with a flying forearm and gets a 2 count. Booker's shoulder goes into the post as he tries to ram Undertaker in there. Taker goes to work on the shoulder. He did that other thing they had on the SmackDown games, if you remember, Richie, where Taker would like lift him up by his arm and then bring him down and do like a little hand and then do like the little flip thing and into the submission. Yeah, like that was a move for like 2 games. I remember that was the thing. So he does that in this match and then puts a arm scissors on Booker. Again, also transitioned into an arm bar. He eventually hits the old school, which got the crowd at least going a little bit. Booker rolls to the outside. He throws Taker into the steps this time to try to fight back a little bit. And you forget how big Booker T is, by the way. He didn't look that much smaller than Undertaker in this match.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude, especially here. He's pretty jacked. But he goes to use the ring bell just like tested earlier. But Tim White, WWF referee, actually stops him from using the ring bell. They kind of brawl into the front row as well. Booker gets tossed into the ring post. Back on the inside, though, Booker hits his missile drop kick for a 2 count, which he's won matches with back in WCW, but only gets a 2 count here. Hits the Harlem sidekick for a 2 count. And then a sidewalk slam on the Undertaker. So again, count them up and take another shot. if you're counting for catapults and sidewalk slams, take a shot on the show because you'll be pretty drunk. So whips Taker into the corner, hits a neck breaker for a 2. this is another one of those weird spots, Richie. Taker's laying on the ground. Booker T goes up top and goes like he's going to hit an axe handle.
Well, this is what I was going to bring. I watched this podcast called OSW Review, but they do. You see spots like this where, like, it's the spot's obviously designed for them to get cut off, but it's like basically, well, to use their terminology, Booker T went for a top rope nothing.
For a top rope nothing, because Taker sticks his boot up in the air, but Booker T is coming down with an axe handle, so if he had landed, he wouldn't have hit anything. Yeah, he would just
it was just designed for him to get.
I've never liked that spot. I just think it's a bad spot. It's just you can do better cutoffs than this. Yeah, it's just a poor spot. I've never liked it. But anyways, Taker fights back with a big boot for a 2. Booker T hits a spin kick to Taker again for another 2. Taker comes off the ropes with his catch DDT, and they're kind of both down for a minute. Taker hits a leg drop off the ropes for a 2 count, and then Booker hits a leaping side kick again and hits the spinner Rooney as he does in the middle of the ring.
Oh my God.
Spinner Rooney. Taker's crawling back into the ring, and Booker T does get the axe kick, but Taker's near the ropes and is able to break it up with the ropes for only a 2 count. Taker gets whipped into the ropes, but tries to go for a choke slam, but gets low blowed. Booker goes into the corner, goes for the 10 punches, but Taker fights out with the last ride and lifts Booker up, hits the last ride for the 3 count, and pins Booker T. So your winner is the Undertaker. There was nothing like wrong technically with the match. They were going back and forth, but I just feel like it was just them kind of just trading moves back and forth. There wasn't like a lot of psychology, and it just kind of went on a little too long. Like there's nothing like technically wrong with it. Just kind of crowd wasn't super into it. They kind of knew Taker was going to win. Booker T's kind of a geek around this point. He's like losing to everybody every time he has especially on pay-per-views. I mean, he literally
does have a shitty alliance run, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, no, he loses to everybody. He fights The Rock like 500 times and loses every single time. Like I don't know, why he's like considered a threat. He pretty much loses everything. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't like horrible. I've seen way worse matches, but it was about 3 minutes too long. But yeah, Richie, guess you didn't like this one very much.
Yeah, I didn't think it was horrible, but yeah, I just thought the match was a bit boring. I thought maybe they would. I actually thought, like, going into it, that they might put Booker T over. I thought they was sitting the groundwork because they're doing Test went over and they're kind of a tag team, and like I think they'd win. I think they'd win the tag titles like not long after this. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a sort of slow plotting. I do appreciate they Booker T took most of the match. Like he
No, I mean, he took a good chunk of it, or at least went pretty close to 50-50 with Taker. Like every time Taker would hit something, he'd hit a big kick or something. Yeah, and he was going blow for blow with him at least.
Yeah, he took a good chunk of the match, so no, that's cool to make him. Yeah, but like, it's I feel like they never fully like went all the way with him until like King Booker. I feel like that was I feel like the crowd got King Booker.
Well, and the highest he got, we talked about it at WrestleMania 19 when he gets, berated by Triple H's racist remarks, and is the true ultimate kind of underdog story, and then he goes to WrestleMania and loses.
And then King Lawler just giving him all these racist jokes.
Yes,
and then and he gets pedigreed and then stays on the mat for half an hour and still gets pinned. Yes,
yeah.
With one arm, by the way. So yes. Like I just the booking of Booker T's not been isn't great around this time, but so the match was all right. It was like it didn't think it was horrible, but it was probably like least exciting on the show, to be honest. So but it was what it was.
Yeah, it's sad to say when it might be the least entertaining match when there was also Stacy versus Tori in a lingerie match, but it might have been more entertaining because it was shorter and went quicker.
I will say I always liked Undertaker's DDT that he does.
The one where he comes off the ropes and it's the DDT. GPO, anything you got for me?
Looked up these two. They'd go back to the wall in 2004 at Judgment Day. They would also have a non-title, just mid-card, but later in the card match. It's a minute shorter, but according to the voters of Cage Match, it's even worse. So I don't know if I'd go out of my way of watching it. So it's got a little bit of a lower rating than even this one here. So I don't know if I'd go out of your way. for watching it here. Booker T would retire back in 2012, making sporadic appearances for his Ring of Reality promotion here, including the reunion of Harlem Heat back in 2015. Last time he wrestled a normal match was in 2022. Evidently it was a Team Sharmell versus Team Booker match. I'll see the building of that. And then he was briefly in the 2023 Rumble. He has said that he could probably do a couple more matches, but he'd probably do it for his own promotion to hype up a big event. Not WWE.
No, for sure. No, I went to that Schmodown that was at the Houston at his reality wrestling venue. Yeah, and he was there hanging around. Yeah, he did a little meet and greet beforehand. That was fun. I got a picture with him. That was cool. And yeah, he kind of sort of did a pseudo manager thing for the match. It was fun. Yeah, so he was hanging around. That was good. The only problem was the sound system was horrible that night. Like I don't know if they just screwed it, didn't plug everything right that night. The music wasn't really working very well. It was kind of wonky.
The sound never was the sound. They didn't. I don't feel like they could ever get the sound right, like in terms of shows with the Showdown. Like they're like
no, because I went to an Atlanta one too at this little theater, and we could barely hear both the microphones and the music. Like I don't know what happened. Like they just can't ever set them up right. It was very strange. But anyways, moving on to our semi-main event of the evening. As for the WCW title, we have Chris Jericho, your challenger, taking on your champion, The Rock. And yeah, both guys technically baby faces in this match, although Jericho is starting to be a bit of a tweener here, as he would go on to be kind of full on heel by the end of the year. So I'm sure JPO will fill me on because he wins the MCW title at the end of this year, so and kind of goes full heel, for a while. But yeah, I'm sure JPO will fill us in on a little bit of that and where he goes in the following of this. But we've got an interesting matchup here with The Rock and Chris Jericho. Maybe are they picking up the match they never had in '99 when he debuted? Because I feel like they never capitalized on that. Oh, hey, I'm going to debut and cut a promo on you, and then never have a match with you.
And then feud with X-Pac.
Okay. And China and Hardcore Holly, it's like fucking flounder for a while, and be with Mr. Hughes for a minute. So I remember that. Anyway, so they trade some holds for a little bit in the beginning. There's some arm drags back and forth. Jericho hits one and starts working on his arm. Rock fights back with a back elbow. Jericho slaps The Rock right in the face and kind of ground and pounds him for a second. Jericho hit some pretty wicked chops in this match. They were very loud every time he chopped The Rock in this match. Very, very loud. He's kind of an underrated chop guy. But Rock fights back with his own right hands and ground and pound. Rock goes for a rock bottom, but misses. Jericho tries for the walls, but doesn't get it. But eventually hits his springboard, kind of apron drop kick that Jericho would always hit. Back on inside, Jericho hits his big top rope spinning elbow for a 2, a flying form for a 2. Rock tries his own chops and whips Jericho, but Jericho counters with a spinning heel kick out of the corner. There's a backbreaker and a standing senton for 2 for Jericho. Rock tries to fire back with his own flying form, but Jericho hot shots him on the ropes and cuts him off once again. Jericho goes up top and gets kind of crotched by the Rock. Rock hits a big superplex. Rock hits some right hands, his kind of overhead belly to belly that he would do off the ropes, and a Samoan drop combo for a 2 count. Jericho then gets punched over the ropes. They head over to the announcer's table, brawl around for a minute, but back in. Rock hits a big lariat for a 2 count, a standing suplex for a 2 count. He kind of sidesteps Jericho as he's charging and shoots him back over the ropes again. Back on inside, Rock puts a very long sleeper on Jericho. And again, kind of almost doing the babyface slide because it was like the comeback sleeper thing for Jericho where they did like the 1, 2, 3, dropping the arms. And to be fair, by the end of this match, the crowd was fairly split on Jericho and Rock, who they wanted to win, especially near the end when they were fall. So give them credit. They actually kind of got the crowd into it to go kind of 50-50. Rock hits a take a shot, a catapult on Jericho. That's another one for tonight. Sets Jericho up on the top rope, but Jericho shoves him off and hits his own missile drop kick. And then back in the middle of the ring, Jericho hits a rock bottom out of nowhere and then follows it up with a lion salt. And this was a great near fall because he only got a 2 count, but man, crowd really went in on that rock bottom lion salt combo, but he only got 2 on that one. He goes for his bulldog to try to set it up again, but instead of going for the lion salt, he tries his own people's elbow. But Rock hits a dragon screw out of that and puts Jericho into the sharpshooter. Again, crowd's going crazy for this last couple of minutes. It was really, really good. Some of the counters these guys were doing. But yeah, he puts him in the sharpshooter. Jericho gets the ropes. They go outside. Rock clears the announce table and rock bottoms Jericho right through the Spanish announce table.
Jericho got some hang time on that rock bottom. That was great.
Oh yeah, no, he got way up for it, and they went down. Referee kind of starts counting them out. Rock breaks the count, brings it back in. So they go back in. Rock goes for a rock bottom, tries a rock bottom, gets counter, but is able to hit the spine buster. But this was a great spot because he went to go for the people's elbow, and when he came off the ropes the second time, Jericho grabbed his legs, tripped him, and and got into the walls of Jericho. That was a great spot. People actually kind of really fought for it. Starts going crazy for that. He pulls Rock back to the center, away from the ropes. Crowd again goes crazy for that, thinking Jericho might actually win this thing. Out comes Stephanie McMahon. She throws a chair in the ring and gets up on the apron. And Rock hits a DDT on Jericho. And then, yay, violence against women, because Rock grabs Stephanie, pulls her over the top rope, and Rock bottoms her right in the middle of the ring. Yay, 6'4", and then Rock bottoming 100-pound
Take that,
woman.
bitch.
Yeah, take that, woman. Laser out in the middle of the ring with a rock bottom, but Jericho behind the referee's back as he's dealing with Stephanie with the chair hits the breakdown, which
like
was
a
basically the
skull crushing finale
stroke. Yeah, it's which I again forgotten he had used this for a little brief period of time, but he hits the breakdown on the chair and gets the 3 count on the Rock to a pretty big pop. So your new WCW champion, which I forgot happened, even owning this DVD, your new WCW champion is Chris Jericho. So yeah, Richie, thoughts on this one? I thought it started a little slow, but man, the last couple of minutes of this were pretty damn good, really good.
Yeah, I really like the match. And yeah, the problem when you look back at it, it's like, oh yeah, no, he's has won the big one, but it's like, yeah, like, it'd be more big if like WCW still thing where it's like it's still like a secondary world title. You know what I mean? It's still a secondary world title when you got the WWE Championship. The WWF Championship on the same show, but it's like, I mean, the big one would ultimately be Vengeance of that year, where anyone that undisputed. But it was really good, and also, I mean, again, I think JP will get to it, but it's like it would mean more, but like, pretty sure he lost the title about 2 weeks later, and I'm pretty sure he got pinned via a DDT of all things. I'm not joking. I remember this vividly. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, even as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck? Really? That's what you went with? So, yes, Rock would get it back in a couple of weeks. So you did all that to go, Jericho on the big one, to go, yeah, you've had your time. Yeah, you've had your fun. But, yeah, the match itself was really good. And, yeah, so you had good chemistry. They would also, wrestle at Royal Rumble 2002, which is not that long after this. So, yeah. They'd always have good matches. So, yeah, no, great match, and one that I vividly remembered from this show. Vividly remember the show. So yeah.
JPO, yeah, what you got for me?
I'm gonna let you know how The Rock won the title.
Oh, is it the SmackDown match? Because I was looking that up too.
It's a Raw.
Oh, is it a Raw? Okay, I see one from SmackDown as well. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, it's a roll up. So yeah, no, it's more than a couple weeks. It's 15 days. Jericho would drop the World Heavyweight title back to The Rock on an episode of Raw, because I actually forgot about this run too. If you had said what's Jericho's first world title, I would have said, Undisputed Vengeance. I forgot he had this 2-week run with the WCW title. So I forgot this existed here. Jericho would only have it for a couple more weeks. Jericho though in The Rock, Jericho is 3-0 on pay-per-view against The Rock. He wins this match. He wins their rematch in Royal Rumble after Vengeance. So Jericho always wins, but Rock always wins on TV, it seems like. They did technically fight when Jericho debuted. They have an 8-minute match in October of '99, which is, again, kind of weird. Just an 8-minute Raw match in October.
Yeah, not even a pay-per-view match, a Raw match.
No pay-per-view. And then that's it. There's a Jericho and Al Snow versus Rock and Sock in December of '99. Again, it's about as close as you're going to get to a actual real feud. And then their last time they fought each other was in April 2002, when The Rock defeated Jericho again in under 8 minutes. So that's the last time these two clashed in a televised one-on-one match here. That's what I got.
But also Jericho debuted in August '99, so they didn't get around to the match till October.
So until October, they have a quick 8-minute match. Yeah, it is weird, because like you said, I remember looking that up myself one day of like, he's definitely cutting a promo on The Rock. We've all seen the debut, But then, like, what happens?
Yeah, no, they just like don't do anything with it. Yeah, it's always strange. You're like, oh, I'm assuming they had a match on pay per view, like right after. Nope, nope. We just move on.
And
Yeah,
they really hype that it's a great debut too, because it's always on like best debut like packages.
The
all
countdown's cool. It's a kind of a bad debut, so the countdown's cool, and the fact that it's Jericho is what's cool. And The Rock kind of shit talks him. It's like too much.
And then it makes
No,
it,
yeah, because then Rock upstages him and does the whole like no,
Right.
no, shut your mouth thing, and then the crowd like turns
Yeah.
on Jericho pretty quick. Yeah, it's like
Kind of
oh, yeah.
a weird debut for Jericho too, even match wise. His first match is a loss to Road Dogg via disqualification on the second SmackDown. Like weird, and then a no contest with X-Pac a week later. Okay, and then a week later, a no contest with Ken Shamrock, and then
Yeah,
finally,
I think that's Ken
Wait,
Shamrock's
what
last
is this?
match too.
and then he defeats Mr. Hughes in like a quick cage match in his first win. So, yeah, it's weird. He's there for about a month before he has like a real win.
Yeah, it's like
And even that was like a
Christian-
squash match.
Yeah, Jericho can't beat Road Dogg on television. You know, like
Well, it's,
like
you just took this hot WCW signee. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure it was a DQ to where he probably still looks strong-ish, but like, fucking let him win. What?
Yeah, can he
Yeah.
beat somebody? Yeah, like
Weird.
I don't
It's
know.
a
Yeah,
vague
weird,
remember
weird.
it was- yeah,
Weird,
yeah.
unhot booking. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
I seem
That's
to
what-
vaguely remember it was like when he was. Remember that time when he was doing the again? It's a SmackDown thing where I forgot that he did this move, but he'd do like a double powerbomb thing as a finish, and I think he did the double powerbomb thing through to Road Dogg through a table or something. I vaguely remember that,
DQ him. Mm.
but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, so we get to our main event of the evening, a triple threat match. Again, they emphasize the no disqualification thing, even though that's how triple
don't
threat
need
matches
to.
work. But okay, I guess we're just re-emphasizing because we know there's going to be interference. So I guess they're just kind of re-emphasizing that for the crowd and for everybody at home. But for the WWF title, we've got your champion Stone Cold Steve Austin taking on both Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam. The crowd is way behind RVD. Like they were definitely pushing him to where, this is around the time, and I think if you had pulled the trigger on this, at least for a little bit, as much as they're giving these titles around, man, I think you could have pulled the trigger on this for a couple of weeks, and it actually would have worked because, boy, is he over around this time in 2001. He's easily the most over guy they brought in for the invasion, he's getting way over just his uniqueness and everything. But man, not to spoil my thoughts on this, this is a really fun triple threat. This thing is fast paced. They do a lot of stuff in a pretty short amount of time. I mean, it goes 15 minutes, but boy, is it a fast, fun 15 minutes. So, here we go. Angle immediately starts out as the suplex machine that he is. He just Germans the shit out of suplex out of Austin and RVD, just back and forth. Eventually, they kind of fight back and both double team Kurt Angle, Rob, and Stone Cold there. Rob and Stone Cold flip off one another, in the middle of the ring, and Austin starts fighting both guys. He stomps out both Angle and Rob Van Dam and subsequent corners kind of over and over again. He tries a stunner on Kurt Angle, but Angle counters into a quick ankle lock, but RVD breaks it up. There's a spinning heel kick and a springboard side kick to Austin as RVD kind of takes over for a minute, hits the rolling thunder on Kurt Angle, and then tosses Angle outside as they kind of isolate him for a minute. Austin hits a spine buster on Rob Van Dam and goes to work on his knee, kind of chop blocks him, trying to chop down RVD here. Angle comes back in, but gets tossed quickly out again. Austin goes for an STF on RVD, which I didn't see him put a bunch of STFs on. But yeah, he whipped that out. There you go, and hits Angle again off the apron, kind of keeping him out. Take a shot because on the outside, Angle gets catapulted into the ring post. Once again, they did not have their meetings on their moves tonight. RV gets his leg wrapped around it at the same time. Angle and Austin kind of brawl at ringside a little bit, and out of nowhere, RVD hits a big somersault plancha off the top rope and lays out both guys. RVD is in with Kurt Angle. Angle traps. Oh, it did that awesome suplex where RVD went to do like a high kick on him, and Angle trapped his leg and then threw him.
It's I called it like a Taz play. It's a Taz. Suplex.
Yeah, it's like one of those tag suplexes. Yeah, because he traps his leg and then the suplex him. It looked great. Crowd popped for it. And then immediately after, Angle goes up top and hits his glorious moonsault.
It's the best moonsault. He barely hits it, but man, when
Dude, the one he hit on this tonight was perfect. He lands on RVD perfectly right in the middle. It is picture perfect. Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, he hits his moonsault, but Austin's able to break it up before he gets the 3 count. Angle then puts a sleeper on Austin. He tries for a stunner, but there's a double knockdown. RVD goes for a 5-star in the middle of the ring, but both guys move out of the way so he doesn't hit anybody. Angle hits a nasty German suplex on RVD where he just kind of just traps him and just drops him basically on the back of his head. RVD always took those Germans kind of nasty. And then out of nowhere, Austin hits a stunner on Kurt Angle, but RVD breaks up the 3 count. RVD then hits a split-legged moonsault, but only gets a 2. There's an Angle slam on RVD, but Austin breaks up that count. Angle and Austin brawl at ringside a little bit. Angle gets slammed in the announce table a couple of times. Austin tries a pile driver on the table, but gets backdropped on the announce table. Doesn't break, but he gets backdropped onto it. And then RVD again out of nowhere just hits a big tope through the ropes and just wipes out an Angle. He comes right out of nowhere off camera and just through the ropes, wipes out an Angle. It's very fun. But Vince comes out to ringside to kind of watch the proceedings a little bit. Angle and RVD are back in. Some chops and punches to RVD. There's a big spin kick to Angle. They both go. RVD goes up top, but Angle does that Austin thing where he runs up the ropes and just launches RVD about 3/4 of the way across the ring with a suplex. It's pretty great. That was awesome. Austin comes back in and stuns Kurt Angle, but Angle rolls out of the ring after the stunner, so he can't get pinned. Austin gets hit with a chair in the back by Vince, and then
he gets hit in the back of the head. He wallops.
Oh yeah, he wallops. Yeah,
he's bleeding.
Back, but yeah, he got busted open. Yeah, the hard way. I think he meant to hit him in the back, but yeah, he kind of caught him in the head a little bit. But this is the closest RVD comes to the win here, and the crowd is really up for it because Austin gets hit with a chair. RVD goes up, hits the 5-star frog splash, 1, 2, and at the last second, Angle is able to roll back in and break it up. That's about the closest RVD comes to getting the title here, but crowd pop for it. A couple more Germans to RVD. I think he's 4 of them, and he hits an Angle slam to kind of put RVD out of this match for a minute. Shane McMahon runs in and attacks Angle on the outside, but Vince bum rushes Shane and just wallops him and knocks him right over the ropes. Just tackles him right over the damn announce table. The crowd is going crazy. Give him credit. They fly over there, but then back inside the ring, Austin is able to get RVD up, stuns him, and puts him down for the 3 count. And your winner and still WWF champion is Stone Cold Steve Austin. They crammed a lot into this 15 minutes, damn it. But man, it was a lot of fun. I thought RVD really kind of interjected a lot of fun stuff in this one. Angle's just suplexing dudes left and right. Stone Cold stunning everybody. There was some nice brawling. Like I said, the moonsault was great. This was really, really fun. And this is a wildly entertaining 15 minutes if you've never seen this. But Richie, what'd you think of this main event?
Yeah, this match was great. I think Kurt Angle's, kept proving that, he's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. He's my favorite wrestler. That moonsault was great. The Tazplex was great. He's just fantastic in the match. But RVD was great. If they put the title on him, I think it would have been fine.
If he would have pinned Austin in the middle of the ring after that 5-star, like the crowd would have popped. Like they were ready for it. Like if he
But I think the story they were saying as well is that Vince was conflicted because obviously he wants RVD to switch sides, sort of thing, to kind of play it. But then Kurt Angle broke up the pin because Vince kind of pep talked him. So it's hey, break up the pin, get up, break up the pin. So because he was sort of conflicted himself. Say one about Vince, but it added to the match with him. Obviously the walloping the chair to the back of the head, that was crazy. That he just fucking nailed him. But also when he tackled Shane, that was funny, but it was also really good. Just very good. It was just great. And then I liked how RVD was sold it pretty well that he was basically exhausted. He'd taken all these German suplexes, probably over 20 at the cumulatively, not on a row, but Jesus, he could angle suplex and all that. So he was exhausted. So once he got the stunner, he barely sold it. It's just So I thought the finish worked as well. So I thought JR was really good on the call here too. JR, this is great. JR and Paul Heyman were great in this match as well. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, JPO, you got anything on anybody in this one?
Yeah, as always, pulled up a couple of quick things here for us here. Let's see. Of course, Stone Cold, we all kind of know that story. Would retire for
Mhm.
19 years before having a match with my cousin Kevin Owens in a 14-minute really fun match here.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle, of course, back in 2019 in WrestleMania 35, losing to Baron Corbin. One thing that always bothered me was on his way out. You know, he did several like kind of interesting Raw matches. He fought Chad Gable, Samoa Joe, 9 minutes, 12 minutes. Then they teased him versus AJ Styles for the first time in WWE. I was like, hell yeah, it's his last televised match, and they didn't even give it 3 minutes before Corbin interfered. Why, man? Don't tease us with that shit. Fuck you.
And he wanted John, and he said in his podcast he wanted John Cena.
Oh, he wanted someone to knock Baron Corbin? What a surprise.
And somebody that would have made sense in like full circle to somebody else on the roster? Yeah, well, that wouldn't make sense at all.
Would have been dope. RVD is still very active. Had his second run with the WWE and back in last until 2014. I also agree, by the way, 2001, and then also again 2002. Like RVD should have had that title, man. Because even a year later, like when Triple H had it for so long, it was like give RVD a run.
No,
man.
yeah, he has a. I considered doing. There was one pay per view where, I think I don't know if it was the main event, but yeah, it was Triple H and RVD for the title.
It is.
Yeah,
it's right before Kane. Yeah, it's right before Kane.
Yeah, and like both those guys, man, if either one of them won that title, like I think it would have
absolutely
been.
That was the time to do it. Make a new star. The dude's there. Come on.
Yeah.
So RVD has about 5 matches now with AEW. Kind of pops in and out, and not that I want him to retire, but if he did retire, his last match would have been on April 20th. So kind of that,
right?
420, baby.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Well, there you go. And that is No Mercy 2001. Richie, overall thoughts on the show and maybe like an out of 10 sort of thing?
There's nothing that stands out as particularly bad. Like even like I thought Booker T and Undertaker was getting towards being a bit boring, but like it's still it's decent. They're great wrestlers. And then the lingerie match is the product of its time, but entertaining enough. And then the other things on the show were really good to great. So I don't know. I give it a decent score. I can't even remember how. I forget about the show, and I shouldn't because it's one of it's a pretty dang good show. So I'd probably give it like a solid 8. I would say.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that territory as well. I used to watch this one a lot on DVD because it always had kind of like a lot of unique stuff. Yeah, like, having a triple threat with like RVD thrown into the main event was always fun. Yeah, Rocket Jericho didn't always have like a ton of matches, but this one was really fun with them being kind of both baby faces and the crowd being split. It's a nice dynamic. Yeah, the crowd kind of going nuts for Jericho at the end. The Edge vs. Christian is like a solid ladder match, like not the greatest one you've ever seen, but like pretty solid for what it is. I like a good Haas Warfare, so like I like the Test Kane kind of stuff. I remember Kane had a match with Batista in like 2002. I used to go back and watch a lot because it was just a big, good Haas fight.
It was just.
It was like Armageddon 02 or something like that.
It's the same night Batista ends up winning the tag titles, actually.
Yeah. And he has a match with Kane, and they just end up like they're just trading like crazy power moves for like 10 minutes, and it's pretty great. Just beating the shit out of each other. So I appreciate stuff like that. The opener's fun, for what it is. Even the Dudleys and like Tajiri and Big Show is like a good tag match. Like it's it's just the crowd's kind of like just saving their energy a little bit. But yeah, this is like a really underrated kind of overlooked show. And man, if you want to see like a really fun 15-minute triple threat match, like that main event is a lot of fun. Like it's just nonstop, like really, really good stuff. So yeah, I'd go like a solid 8. I like the show a lot. JPO, any thought? I know you said you've seen this one a couple times or had it on DVD as well. Like anything you remember from this one particularly stand out, or any memories of this one?
I remember not seeing it like organically live or anything, and then like you said, getting to it later on. Like I said, I got on clearance at either Walgreens or CVS. I was like, hell yeah, I'm not passing up a $4 DVD back in the day. I was like, I'll buy anything for $4, to add to the collection. And seeing it kind of like well after the fact, and yeah, like you said, it's a decent pay per view. I think maybe at the time just because of the way the alliance was being treated and whatnot, and then it had to be all WWF detractors. Like you said, Booker would. They kind of booked him like a joke at first, so I feel like it's one of those pay-per-views that actually, weirdly enough, holds up better later than I think than live at the time.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a good solid show. I'd recommend it. So yeah, some good matches on here. The show flew by for me. I mean, like it's a pretty entertaining show overall. Just breezes by, very easy to watch. So yeah, that's it. That's gonna do it for No Mercy 2001. I know I believe all three, you got Richie, Jacob and Jordan, you guys all have stuff in the bag. So whoever wants to kind of throw something out there, I think JPO, it might be your turn because we did kind of Richie's draft, we've done mine. So if you want something, it can be an all JPO show next week with some crown jewel predictions and that. I don't know if you guys want to maybe try to go on like Wednesday night instead of Thursday, since because of Halloween.
Say, are we doing because it's Halloween day next week. Right?
Yeah,
so,
it's up to y'all.
Are any of you trick or treating? Does that matter?
I don't know. I know. It's not really a big thing here, so I was just wondering. Yeah.
I mean, maybe we could still do it on Thursday if you want to. I mean, we'll talk about it off air. We'll talk about it. We'll see what you guys want to do, or if you just want to, do a different day. We'll talk about it. But yeah, so if you want to think about something you want to do, JPO, and you can do that, and the Crown Jewel predictions, that'll work for me. I'm fine with that. So whatever you want to do, a draft, a topic, whatever you want to do, we'll talk about it. But what you got going on, JPO? We're on all your channels.
Yeah, when we're not here on this channel every Thursday-ish. If I'm over at the Pearsco, that's where we do lots of trivia, movie trivia. We're having lots of fun horror stuff this month as well. I just wrote the return of picks and lists, but it's a horror edition. That's going to be fun sometime next week. And then Pierce Wrestling, similar idea, but with pro wrestling stuff here, I think in the next week or two. Chris Cass, my Roman Reigns, my Billion Days champion, will defend his title as well. Me and Pez are your unclaimed number one contenders. Why We Love Horror, film some stuff for that. I think just dropped multiplex. I think stuff is still dropping here. Lights Out, me and Brendan Cohen are continuing our streak in that. Hopefully soon. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, Movie Here Network. I'll be there tomorrow, I think. Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah. So yeah, Richard will be on that too. Yeah, we're doing a tier ranker for one. We don't do a lot of tier rankers, but we're getting around to some tier ranker. We're doing kind of just the most mainstream horror movies of the last 3 or 4 years. So we're just what's more recent thing, but what would we put in an S tier for like recent movies? So it should be a good.
I'm gonna nominate movies that aren't even S tier. I want to see what people say.
Oh yeah, no, you can do that, and it's funny because Jordan sent me this like rough draft of like he just had all these like. He does this weird like average ranking thing, and he had just had all good movies. I'm like, bro, it's a tier ranker. You gotta have some bad stuff on there too. Like, you gotta have something for the trash pile. I was like, you have to. Like, we have to be able to talk about, Founders Day if we want to talk about Founders Day or Night Swim. Some of those goofy like bad movies. Like, you have to have some bad stuff to throw in there. It can't all be A tier, S tier stuff.
Tarot.
So, yeah, tarot, and imaginary from this year, things like that. Yeah, you got to throw some of those in there. So, Richie, what you got going on?
I have tarot here, by the way. I've rented it from the library, so I'll probably have an opinion on that soon.
It's boy, is it a Final Destination ripoff? Boy, take a shot every time you remind you of Final Destination.
Don't blaspheme the name Final Destination.
No, I'm just saying a ripoff, like the worst.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, like I would almost prefer the fourth Final Destination over tarot. Like I think
I do. I only saw the once, but I think I do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, before we went on here, me and Pez did another episode of Wheel of Movies where we talked about Grease. Grease is a word, so you can check that out.
How problematic it is that the woman's got to change for the man.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Or did you talk about how the ending, when they're flying away, it shows that she actually died a long time ago?
We talked about that too.
Shit. All right. Well, you cross everything I have.
No, we talked about those. We talked about the weird Rizzo, like maybe having a baby, maybe not having a baby subplot of that movie is weird.
Night Dumpster Baby.
Yeah, there's very strange kind of subplots in that movie. We talked about that get kind of like brought up and then resolved within like 2 scenes. Yeah, there's weird stuff in that movie. So we talked about it. Anyway, while still saying we still like this movie, just there's weird stuff about it. So it's entertaining. Yeah, it's weird.
Talk about that. Oh yeah, I'll be on tier ranker as mentioned before. I appear. Yeah, I mean I call in on a long time first time with JPO show that the only show
I should hopefully be back next Thursday. Although because of Halloween, maybe that'll get bumped. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll talk about it.
I did an impromptu trivia thing on there with Eric Moreno. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So,
Richie was around for a match that was designed for me versus Brandon, But Richie was there, so it's like, Richie, grab your board.
Yeah.
Sure, always down for impromptu trivia.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
right. Maybe one day I'll do. I'll write you guys more impromptu Lonely Marks wrestling trivia one night, and just have you guys like all face each other.
Dude, okay.
You know,
It's not my request, but that's my side request. Do it.
that's what I mean. Like, and I'll throw in those random questions I just throw in of like, name me all the members of Raven's flock. 1 point apiece. Go. You know, shit like that. Yeah. I mean, you know, shit like that.
Lodi, Kidman, Reese.
We did
Sick
that.
Boy.
Yeah.
Saturn.
Canyon, yes.
Alright.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out. I mean, there's probably other things I'm forgetting, but like, yeah, I'll remember when they come up, you know, close to the time, and yeah, and my dog is whinging at me. So
yes. Come on, get off the stream, Richie. Your dog needs you. Most of the time we over on the Movie Hero Network, as we said, got lots of stuff going on for spooky season this week. Yeah, the tier ranker for recent horror movies, that should be fun. Got my monthly mistake with Wolfman on Saturday night, doing some Halloween 5. I'll be on Rankum on Sunday night talking horror movie opening scenes. So that there's plenty of candidates for that. So that should be an interesting list. We've got a horror championship tournament next week, and we got an episode of Recast for Ghostbusters, which we'll be doing next week. So our next episode of Recast will be incoming. So lots of stuff for the spooky season. We'll talk off the air. You know what night we want to do Lonely Marks. We'll come back next week and do something. We'll figure it out, and we'll get to because we got to talk some Crown Jewel, and we'll do whatever JPO wants to do. So that'll do it for tonight. Appreciate anybody who tunes in now or after the fact. We certainly appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and tune in every week. Join the Movie Hero Network Facebook page. I drop reminders about everything in there as well. That'll do it for tonight, man. So Jacob, we love you. Hopefully we'll be back next week. JPO, thanks for joining in. Richie, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I have been Austin Pez Howell, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.